Hello, hello. So we got, I leave for a day and everything falls apart. It's insane. We got a lot going on today, obviously, every day, but it looks like the last 24, 36 hours have been incredibly interesting in regard to news-related events. We had GME buying Bitcoin, which I think is pretty huge. We have economic data today, GDP and jobs data. Yesterday we had consumer durable goods. They look good, better than expected. We've got tariffs on auto imports, which do affect Tesla, or at least, we'll talk about the degree of which they affect Tesla versus other auto manufacturers. I think that'll be helpful for people to understand. It's still beneficial to Tesla because they're hurt way less, but there is impact. And I think in a post from Elon correcting Sawyer Merritt, I think he wanted to make sure that the world knew that so that they don't think he's getting favoritism from Trump. Because again, Trump just said this last week, or that Elon's never asked him for anything, right? So he wants to make sure there's a clear delineation between Trump and his business with Tesla, and I think that's good. So we'll talk about that. We've got Vietnam agreeing to lower their tariff barriers to the United States. It sounds like South Korea is probably going to do something similar. And then I wouldn't be surprised if we get a retaliation. Trump just threatened Canada and the EU that if they combine forces to retaliate against the United States, we're going to go after them heavy. I think I talked about that happening, about Canada and the EU conspiring to tariff together in order to be able to, thwart what Trump is doing. And he obviously sees that too, not just me. We got Robinhood turning into a bank. Boy, poor SoFi. Pour some tears out for SoFi, guys. We've got the Red Sea maybe opening soon because the Houthis are getting absolutely obliterated and most of their leadership is dead. We've got the Gazans starting to say that they want Hamas out of their country. We'll see if they work with the IDF in order to be able to get rid of it, but we could have that war coming to an end. Still have stuff going on in Russia and Ukraine. I think that one's going to take a little bit longer. That's fine. That's probably what was always going to happen. And we've got the EU fighting against democracy. And there's so much more to talk about. We'll be going over all of it today. Also, a little sneak preview of part of the video from Tom Lee, because again, I don't like to give away too much of his work, but he said some stuff yesterday that I think is really important for you to understand. So we'll be going into that just in a second here before we get too deep into the other stuff. CNN Fear and Greed Index, 29, still right on the edge of extreme fear. I think that's good. I think that's healthy. Good morning, everybody. I haven't even said hi to chat. Hippie says hi. Kyle says, seems like the wind behind Tesla's sale will put out the fire and push forward for the rest of the year. Maybe wishful thinking. I think you're probably right. Tofik has like a progress bar. I don't know what that means. Oak, morning, brother. Robertus, what's up, Jesse? Let's go. I agree, my friend. Klebman, morning from Sweden. Hey, what's up, buddy? Eric, hey, hello. Unlock Real Estate, what's up? All right, everybody else, hello. Missed you yesterday? Yeah, I had a lot to do. I actually had a really good day. I didn't even look at stock-related stuff at all. I didn't look at any tickers. I was just enjoying my day, getting a lot of stuff done, being super productive. And it's awesome. I'm going to be working on a fence again today, trying to get some stuff finalized for that. Because I had, they tore down this property next to my house. My current house, not that future dream house where I have a pool inside. But it's just like a dust bowl now near my house because they took out this the whole block. And so the wind just tore down my fence because it was kind of old. So I'm rebuilding that. I think I'm going to do it for about $1,200, which is awesome. That's not bad at all, but it requires some of my human labor. And you know what? I'm realizing my age. I'm realizing how 47 I am, almost 48. Because the first time I built that fence, it was hella fucking easier. All right, let's keep rocking. Jesse, do you think TLT has more asymmetric upside than Tesla at this point? I don't know. I mean, it's a hedge. It's a hedge, so it depends on what happens going forward, right? If I'm right about us not going into stagflation, where you have growth going down and you have inflation going up, I actually think the exact opposite of those things are happening. I think if anything, we'll have growth maybe slow down for a second and then start going up. And so I think we're getting like the narrative for the stagflation crew is just enough right now for them to be able to use it as a talking point. But I do think things will change into the latter half of the year, and I think that inflation will go down, and I think that growth will go up. And we've got the stuff that's going to change from Scott Bessent in regard to bank allocations and what the supplemental leverage ratio and what they have to hold. That'll drop us 50 bips. I think there's a lot of good things happening. When's your birthday? I don't give that out online. It's just yeah, but that yours is tomorrow. That's awesome. Congratulations, Ash. Yeah, let's keep going though. So we're right on the edge of extreme fear. We've got data coming out in like 25 minutes. Pretty big data. Corporate profits, GDP data, jobless data. There's a lot. This is going to be a lot to sift through. This should be fun. And then we got more data coming out at 9. Pending home sales, really. Nothing there. And then 10, it looks like we have Kansas Fed. So we have a really full day in regard to data. And then tomorrow, again, more GDP related, or GDP out of Canada. And then US will have a personal income, personal spending, PCE, Michigan related data. These are all going to be pretty big data points and should be interesting. So we'll see how all that goes. But we'll check back here in about 25 minutes and we'll see what's happening there. Let's get real quickly. I want to listen to these points from Fundstrat super fast. Again, I can't give this stuff out too often, but I know a lot of people are afraid from yesterday. So we'll listen to a couple of minutes out of this 5.5 minute video just so I can help you guys with a few things that you need to understand.
Draconian than many expect. Another part of the survey that was interesting was the question about...
This is the Conference Board survey.
1 year expected stock price increase, the percent expecting stocks to increase. And that dropped to 37%. That is, by the way, the largest 2-month decline in expectations in 40 years.
I'm sorry. So this might be an important thing to note. The 1 year expectation for stock price increases declined at the greatest level in 40 years. 40 years over the last 2 months. So this is a contrarian signal. It's actually positive.
Entire history of the survey.
You want low expectations. You don't want high ones.
Never has the 2-month drop been so severe. In fact, if you look just at the last few years, anytime it's dropped even remotely like that, double digits, the first time was Trump
1.0 tariffs and COVID.
1.0 with the tariff war. And the second time it dropped like this was COVID. But here's what's interesting.
We'll show this last point and then we'll jump out because I don't want to do all of his work.
But let's take a look at the entire 40-year history of that survey and say, whenever this reading is below 10, minus 10, okay, that's this bottom row here, what are the 6-month and 3-month forward returns? Well, if you look at the 3-month forward returns, this is the single best time to actually be long over the next 3 months. The median return is 6%. It's way above.
So the 3-month returns, this is like the best time based upon the severeness of the drop that we had.
Anything seen in any other decile. And if you look at 6-month forward returns of 9%, it is way higher than any time you've seen in any other decile. So
it's also sick. So the next 3 to 6 months, we should actually be seeing outsized returns because of this.
In other words, this is really amplifying it because sentiment's so bad.
And we're going to stop there. Again, I don't want to give away all of his work. I did want you guys to see that, though, because I think it's pretty awesome. Well, let's see. Tyler, will you rebuy some MSTX if we drop a little more? Maybe. I mean, again, I've been reallocating that stuff into Mara, Clean Spark calls, Iron calls, ARCG, just some other asymmetric bets that will give me an even more outsized return versus MSTX. So I don't know how much more I'll be putting back into that anytime soon. I do still have, what do I have? I have about 850,000, maybe a little less than 900,000 in MSTU and MSTX. I feel like that's a big number. I feel like that's a pretty big number. So I'm probably okay with that. Again, I was trying to distribute my allocation a little more evenly across everything. My birthday is April 3rd. That's what Victor says. Awesome, man. You guys got lots of birthdays coming up in chat here. That's kick-ass. Todd got his refreshed Model Y. Loving it. Dude, it's so quiet. It's so good. It's so much better than the Model Y I got 4 years ago. It's shockingly good. It's so good. Kurt Brown, jealous of you guys with your new Y. Still waiting for the launch series to end to order mine. When you get it, man, it's gonna be you're gonna be shocked by how good of a car it is. Yeah, and I'm still sitting on about $332,000 in TSLL as well. So about 340 maybe, close to 350 in Tesla overall. So I've got a decent allocation towards that as well. But yeah, I'm liking it. The whole market, I think, is great. And the S&P and the NASDAQ, they pretty much closed gaps that they established the day before when they were doing really, really good and just going up, gangbusters. So that's good. Closing gaps, at least on the larger indices, is a good thing. Ooh, wait a sec. We got Ro Khanna talking. What is this? HSS Secretary Kennedy plans 10,000 job cuts. This is actually kind of interesting. We're going to jump to this super fast, and then we'll get back to the news. Then we got 20 minutes until we get a lot of economic data. I want to see this real quick here. All right.
To reshape the nation's health agencies, close regional offices, lay.
Nah, I'm not buying GameStop, but I do think this is the first time where I've actually thought that you can do well. Again, buying Bitcoin is a good strategy. I think they bought a gold miner a long time ago too, right? Last cycle when they were kind of going up. So at least they're smart enough to understand that they're in a dying business and that they need to diversify. So I think that part's good.
Lay off 10,000 full-time workers. Those layoffs are in addition to the roughly 10,000 employees who opted to leave the department since President Trump took office. An official announcement could come as soon as today. The documents viewed by the Journal say essential health.
I know this has been a painful start to the year, but it is so good what we're doing to streamline government and to get rid of all the bloat and to make it to where, it's a functioning government again, much better than the EU and all the bullshit that they're doing, which we're going to talk about in detail today.
Services will not be affected. Joining us now to talk about probably this, to talk Doge, tariffs, and his town hall tour.
I like Ro Khanna. I think I'm saying his name right. He's like one of the only Democrats I even want to listen to half the time. There's also one out of New York, the black dude. I can't remember his name. Maybe you guys know it in chat. He's great too. There's a few of them where they're like, he's a younger guy, and so it seems like the younger Democrats. There's some in there, not AOC, that have some brains and actually know what's going on.
With voters across his state, Congressman Ro Khanna of California, whose district lies in the heart of Silicon Valley. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to have you on this morning. I'm I guess interested.
I think Bitcoin looks really good, Victor. I'm really liking the positioning of it. We're bouncing between the 200 moving average and that descending channel that started last year. So it's in a really good position for a breakout.
In what you think of the whole idea of trying to onshore just about everything and sort of rebuild what was hollowed out after 20 or 30 years of globalization. Is that a noble purpose? Can it be done, in your view, Congressman?
I do think it's a noble purpose. I think it absolutely has to be done. We made a colossal mistake offshoring industry after industry, whether it was steel, aluminum, ship.
Hey guys, a Democrat that actually thinks it's good that we're bringing manufacturing back to the United States. This guy isn't an asshole.
Building. My only concern is that tariffs is only one tool. We also need a government procurement policy. If you build it, we will buy it. That's what actually Trump did with Operation Warp
with
Speed,
some things
that led to the development of the vaccines. We need that for other industries. We need strategic financing and workforce development, and we need to focus it on deindustrialized areas. But I support the effort to make us a manufacturing superpower.
Yeah, there's other ways to do it, but tariffs are, do you think they're a kind of a blunt instrument? Is it being done the way you would do it? Do you favor any of these? I mean, I know Biden left quite a few on, the Biden administration did.
Yeah, I think some of them I do favor. On steel, I favor those. It's actually helped make Cleveland Cliffs and some of our steel companies more competitive. I favor the ones on aluminum. What I don't agree with is the blanket way that he's done it, and also some of the capricious way he's done it. One day it's on Mexico and Canada, the other day it's not. And so if it's the art
of the deal, guys. Like, read the fucking book. It's literally you chaos is a part of the art of the deal because the other side is always frightened of what you might do next. Okay, it's like a battle, it's like a war, it's deliberate, it's with intent, and you say crazy things like Trump Gaza, where you play a meme video that somebody created where they're sitting on the beach, and then all of a sudden you've got a bunch of Arab nations talking about how they'll pay for the entire rebuilding of Gaza. Again, these are calculated. People might not see it as much, but it is.
A targeted effort at certain industries that makes sense, but not the way that Trump has gone about it.
Survival kit? You might need to give me some
comments about trying to, I don't know, trying to cut the waste from, I'm not going to say Doge, it's just too easy. It already has a stigma attached to it, I think. But let's talk about how big the government is, how much money that we're in debt for as a country, and the notion that maybe we waste taxpayer dollars. How would you get at the waste, fraud, and abuse?
Well, look, Joe, you're a straight shooter. It's a $36 trillion debt. The Republican 10-year budget that they just passed would add $28.5 trillion to that $36 trillion debt. It is actually $4.6 trillion more than the Biden budgets were. So if we want to seriously look at where the budget is and cutting spending, why aren't we looking at the Pentagon budget that's nearly $1 trillion? Now, we need a strong national security.
We are actually. So,
but a lot of defense contractors are monopolies.
Yes, the new Y is much quieter than the Cybertruck. The Cybertruck has a powerful engine, and so the battery noise is a lot higher. But the Cybertruck is so much fucking fun to drive, and it's just a monster truck too. So I still love my Cybertruck. You don't have steer-by-wire like you do. Like the Y doesn't have that. It doesn't have four-wheel steering. It's not the beast that the Cybertruck is. And it doesn't get you as many middle fingers. The Y, nobody cares about the Y. So you're not going to get the middle fingers you get with the Cybertruck. So if you're looking for that, that's a great selling point too.
Why aren't we looking at what Big Pharma is charging Medicare? Why aren't we looking at Medicare Advantage that is upbilling, that is...
we're looking at all these things, man.
billing for patients he's sicker.
He's pushing his talking points.
Claiming they're sicker than they are. There are a lot of big ticket items where we could have real savings.
Yeah, those are, the same arguments that Democrats and Republicans have been having forever. But in fact, I just tweeted something out that said that.
I'm going to probably stop here. I don't know if there's enough actual, interesting content. So we're going to move on. We're going to try and get through this Trump section in 14 minutes before we get the next data points. And I'm feeling really good about how things are going right now. Mark Newton, I think it is, with FS Insight, he was talking about how from a technical level, we're sitting really good. Like I said, we closed a lot of gaps on these major indices. I'll just pull one up here. I'll pull up the S&P on the daily. And it looks like we didn't completely close the gap. I actually wouldn't be surprised if we drop a little bit further today, maybe down to 56.72 on the S&P, and then bounce off the dot 618. I could see the same kind of move too, potentially with Tesla today. I don't know if we can close that gap. But I do think we've just got a little bit more to close on the S&P and the NASDAQ. So I actually wouldn't be surprised to see more downside price action, especially with all the talk of tariffs today in these indices. So don't be shocked if you see any of that. Victor says, Europe, we are so fucking asleep. Yeah, you guys are a mess. And Canada's a mess too. Mark Carney talking about how they're going to be tough and protect their workers. Canada's fucked. If you guys don't vote for Pierre, you're retarded. Sealess, Doze is just analyzing and recommending. Most of it is blocked for now. Yeah, that's all going to get fixed. They're going to be doing a tribunal for the court system for these activist judges. Another activist judge. We'll talk about all that in a second. But a lot of these guys are going to get run over soon. They're going to get very run over. The Speaker and the House has indicated very clearly that they have more tools in their war chest to go after these judges, and they're going to start using them, defunding federal courts and literally shutting them down. So if you want to fuck the president's going to fuck you. All right, let's roll through this. So President Trump just called for NPR and PBS to be immediately defunded. That's going to happen. You'll hear one of these people from NPR talking in a second. I think it's the president of it, making comments about white privilege and all this other stuff and just some crazy shit. that is fascinating and just, again, propaganda. And so you'll see how that's all going away. Chicken Genius said Trump rolled out a 25% auto tariff. Market didn't nuke. I mean, it was down yesterday, but it really didn't get nuked. Again, this is one of the things that happens up. And like I said, Vietnam working with us to lower their tariff barriers. South Korea working with us to lower their tariff barriers. There's a lot of countries. And again, we've talked about, Trump talked yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, over the weekend. He was talking about lowering the reciprocal tariffs and isolating them to like the major players that are problematic, and that's like 15 different countries. So, win taxpayer privilege. That's funny. But yeah, so the markets didn't get nuked. I think he said as April 2nd gets closer, I'm increasingly convinced that it's going to be a buy the news event. I agree, actually. Maybe even before. We'll see. We've still got about a week. So we'll see. A little less than a week, actually. So it's going to be fun. It's getting close. Trump warns EU and Canada. Again, I told you this was coming. I told you this shit was coming, right? If the European Union works with Canada in order to do economic harm to the U.S., because you got to remember, Mark Carney, instead of meeting with Trump to talk about tariffs, he went to the EU to pick a fight, right? He wanted to work with them to go after the United States. It was very clear what he was attempting to do. And now Trump's saying, try that shit. Try it. We're watching you. Just fucking try it. It says that Canada, in order to do economic harm to the U.S., large-scale tariffs far larger than currently planned will be placed on them both in order to protect the best friend that each of those two countries have ever had. So he is not fucking around. You want to find out, go for it. Also, we will obtain Greenland. 1 second here. My kid's like, what? So we will obtain Greenland. We're going to do it. He's not joking. We will get Greenland. I don't know how yet, but we will. It probably involves printing a lot of money to the 53,000 people that are there and getting their votes. But let's listen. And again, J.D. Vance is going to Greenland.
We need Greenland for international safety and security. We need it. We have to have it. And it's a island that, from a defensive posture and even offensive posture, is something we need, especially with the world the way it is. And we're going to have it. And so I hate to put it that way, but we're going to have it. Modern day weapons. When you look at ships going up their shore by the hundreds, it's a busy place, and it's really something we have to have.
Do you think the people of Greenland are eager to become American citizens?
I don't know. I don't think they're eager, but I think that we have to do it, and we have to convince them, and we have to have that land, because it's not possible to properly defend a large section of this earth, not just the United States, without it. So we have to have it. And
it's smart, and it's what we're going to do. Noam said, Jesse, can you help us understand why these countries initially placed tariffs on the U.S. in the first place, and why so many administrations went along with it? So originally, it was a redistribution of wealth. We were doing really good in the United States. Like after World War II, we are the overwhelming power, right? So, and really it started before that, but we tried to work with open trade and make it to where other countries could benefit, and we could use cheap labor to be able to import goods that lowered prices and benefited us while we had the money printer going burr, and we just kept pushing that further and further and further and further, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And Obama was like really helped push this forward, the globalization theme, and making it to where, again, nothing was built in America, and just really devastating the working class, especially in the manufacturing sector. So we've just been going along with this. And in the beginning, maybe it made sense, right? You want to help your allies, you want to take some of the wealth, and you want to help them rise up. But some of these allies are no longer allies, like China, and they've risen up, and they were still getting preferential trade treatment that was treating them like an emerging market. And so it's a disaster. And again, we've made it to where, from a manufacturing standpoint, the biggest trade partners for a lot of countries around the world is China, whereas it used to be us. And that is not good. Now, luckily, we buy all the goods and we have the money printer. And that's not changing anytime soon. We'll look at our bond market and how that's only increasing with foreign buyers, even though there's a narrative that it's not. And then the dollar's getting used more now than ever. The euro's dying. So we have all this strategic power right now that we will lose in the next decade if we don't do something with it. And so we're doing something with it now in order to ensure that we're getting investment dollars back into the United States, like the $4 trillion that's been dedicated by a number of countries in the first 2.5 months of Trump's presidency, which is amazing. It's way more. It's like 3x what we got during Biden's entire term. And so we're trying to get investment dollars back into this country. We're going to make it to where we build cars in this country again, build them in this country, source the parts in this country. We're going to make it to where if a war occurs, we can actually be prepared, or even better, make it to where China doesn't want one. Because they're the real threat. Let's just be real. They're the country we have to worry about. That, and maybe radical Islam taking over control of nuclear powers like France, like the UK. That stuff's happening very quickly, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But so we're trying to prevent a world war. That is what Trump is trying to do. Okay, he's trying to de-escalate things with Russia and Ukraine. He's trying to end what's going on between Gaza and Israel. He's trying to prepare us so that we're strong enough to where we don't have to worry about a war with China. China's not in a good position. They've got a lot of strategic problems. Lots of people would starve in a war, and it would be very easy to blockade them. They have advantages from a manufacturing standpoint, though, which is bad. So that's what we're trying to correct. We're trying to make it to where people want to work with the United States, not with China. The tariffs sound scary, but it's all very strategic. It's all very calculated. And this is our last time to save this country and save potentially the world. And if we don't do it now, we're fucked. And so I strongly believe that. I believe that with like a 99% assurity that we have to do this right now. And I want to see it happen, and I want to see America grow, and I want to see I want to see America like when I was a kid in the 80s. And I want to see people look at America as the beacon for hope in the light, the shiny light at the top of the hill. I want us to not start wars all the time, but ensure that they don't start. And I want us to be able to still ensure maritime travel. And I want our partners to prosper. And the countries that aren't our partners right now are most of Europe and Canada. People seem to think differently, but these countries, I want to jump real quick, and then we've got 4 minutes anyways. So I want to jump real quick because we need to talk about geopolitics. You've got Germany attempting to ban the AFD. The AFD is actually growing so much in popularity that they're overtaking all the other parties because they lied to them again. They lied to these parties after the elections and then did the opposite of what they said they were going to do. They want to jail Conor McGregor in Ireland. They want to jail Le Pen in France. They canceled elections in Romania because the far-right conservative parties, far-right, were winning. And then they're removing EU voting rights. I don't even remember who this is. If you guys could tell me which flag this is. Oh, Hungary. In Hungary, right? So they're attacking everybody that represent values like we have in the United States, values that are prevailing right now. Because, again, the Democratic Party's dropped down to 27% approval. People want what we're doing, and Europe wants what we're doing, and the European Union is trying to fight that. These guys are not our friends. The European Union, especially, is not our friend right now. Okay, and they're controlling. They've got power over these other countries where they're trying to imprison legitimate candidates for the things that they say or have said. That is some scary fucking shit that we cannot allow. And so we will apply maximum pressure to these guys to get it to where these guys are our allies again. Okay? Because we need to. We have to save this world. We can't have all of Europe collapse to radical Islam and towards a bunch of woke-ass bitches in the EU that want to destroy our civilization, that want less of a population in this world, and that want to take away people's abilities to be able to decide what they purchase with their own money and create a social credit system and all this other bullshit that comes out of China that they seem to idolize so much. We have to fix it. If we don't fix it, we're absolutely fucked. Now look here. This is a great example of this, right? So look at the hard right, okay? Look at these guys in Germany. Look at their popularity. The conservatives are dropping. The social democrats are dropping. The other categories aren't going much anywhere. but these guys are skyrocketing even more so since the election where the ADF didn't win. It's ballooning up now. Everybody's like, wait a second, I don't like this. This is happening in Germany. This is happening in France. This is happening in Ireland. This is happening all around Europe. And so there is a civil war getting ready to start in Europe. I strongly believe that. You guys tell me if you're overseas, if you believe the same thing. Lutnick's interview was awesome. Yes, it was. It was really good. The last 3 months have hardened my investing mentality so much. I'm different now. Honestly, man, you gotta be hardened. You gotta be able to realize what's coming. You gotta be able to endure pain. You gotta be able to last. You gotta be able to last through pain. And again, I think today's gonna start off red. I think we're gonna close those gaps, and then I think we're gonna start going higher. That's my take. Victor, yes, my comment was banned right now, and I was saying exactly that. Oh, on YouTube? Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. YouTube censors the shit out of everything. We need to fix that. I think X getting in video will be huge. Let's jump over, though. We got about 15 seconds. Oh, let me get to the right one. About 15 seconds here, guys, and we're going to get a whole swath of data that we'll review in real time. Thank you to everybody who's here. Let's rock and roll. But yeah, we're gonna fix the world, man. We're gonna fix the world. Trump is working on that right now, and it's gonna be beautiful. It just might not be great for now. Okay, goods trade balance advanced February shows that it was worse than expected. That's actually probably not insane. Here's the bright note though. It actually is starting to tick up for like the first time in a while. So we're getting a little baby bounce up. And I think that'll improve in March as well. Because again, we got the tariffs. So I think we're going to start seeing that number, the goods trade balance, actually start to improve as the months and quarters go by for the first time in a very long time. Because again, let's just look at this again. Let's look at this thing over the max. Look at this. This is just a falling cliff. You can see where we really in the 80s, especially started to lose some manufacturing, really into the late 80s. But then it came back up until 92, and then that's when it all went to shit. Look at this. Globalization, 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 globalization. Then 2008 great financial crisis, then just globalization butchering us, and then COVID really showing how bad it's getting, and now we're way down here. This is what we're fixing. This is what we're fixing right here. This will be corrected in massive ways in the months and quarters ahead. I'm so optimistic right now, says Mike. Sometimes it scares you. Yeah, again, you always have to be like balanced and you have to look ahead at what's coming. But we have all the power in the United States right now. I strongly believe that. And I think it's going to be better for the entire world. I do think we've got a fight in front of us, man. Europe literally wants to create their dystopian nightmare. So it's going to be a hard fight. Let's look at everything else, though. GDP growth rate, 2.4%. Wait a second. Whoa. Okay, this is the end of Q4. But still, it's 0.1% better. The sky has not completely fallen, and we'll see how Q1 does. They're showing like negative numbers in Q1. I don't think we'll see that. Howard Lutnick doesn't think we're going to see it. I don't think we're going to see it. GDP growth. Corporate profits Q4 5.9%, expected negative 0.9. The sky is not falling. Corporate profits were really good in Q4. Isn't that shocking? So we're worried about what? The potential of the future tariffs being problematic, even though history tells us they aren't, even though we have South Korea and Vietnam already removing trade barriers, even though we have a number of countries that have already folded massively, right? Massively on tariff-related concerns. Almost all of them, except for like fucking Canada. And China will be a battle, but that'll be a fun one. I can't wait to see that shit. So corporate profits looking amazing for Q4. GDP price index, 2.3%. That is lower than consensus at 2.4 and forecast. So we're actually seeing prices coming in a little bit lower than expected. That is a positive sign as well. Let's see, initial jobless claims, 224,000. That is 1,000 lower than expected. Again, not seeing any signs whatsoever. If you look at the max here, guys, no signs whatsoever that this stuff is falling apart and jobless claims. We're just not seeing it, which is wonderful. And again, we won't see that for a while. Somebody made a good point, and I was kind of thinking about it and doing some research on it. So a lot of these layoffs that are happening on the government side, especially the ones where they took where they're receiving severance. A lot of these guys, I mean, some of them, if they took some of those agreements, they're not going to be showing up till September, which is going to be around the time where it won't even matter because people will be in the private sector by then. So you got to remember, there's still government employees that lost their jobs, but there's no real impact from that at all because they're still getting paid and they have the ability to go out and find new employment. So again, we don't have any concerns until the end of Q3 in regard to these government jobs really ballooning this stuff. Maybe from a contractor, like second order layer of effect, we have something like that. Those guys will get hit. But again, they'll just have to not feed off the government and go out and do some real fucking work or die. They can die. That's an option too. Retail inventories, ex autos, 0.1%, forecast 0.4. So inventories minus autos are actually getting pretty low. So that's interesting. We'll see what happens with that. I don't think there's too much signal there, but let's keep going. Wholesale inventories month over month, 0.3%, lower than the 0.4 for consensus and the 0.6 for forecast. So again, inventories aren't that high. Continuing jobless claims, better than expected as well by a decent margin, 1,856,000 versus 1,890 and 1,893 for consensus and forecast. So it looks like people are falling off unemployment very quickly and able to find other jobs. That's what I'm getting out of this signal. If we look at this graph, this is not a bad number either. If we go back here and just look at the 5-year, again, these are not crazy numbers. These are very consistent numbers. Let's look at the 10. Let's get the COVID hump out of here if we can. So again, these are not rising in a major way. It's actually been pretty flat for like the last 2 years. So I don't hate this data. And I'll try and get caught up in comments in a second too. PCE prices quarter over quarter final 2.4%, perfectly in line. Real consumer spending quarter over quarter 4%, 0.2% lower than forecast and consensus. And let's look at what this trend looks like too. So I would actually say that we're seeing an uptrend. Again, it was Q3, it was 3.7. It's 4% this last quarter. Then before that in Q2, it was 2.8. Then it was 1.9. I'd say we're seeing an uptrend here. And again, these are better than all of 2022. And I mean, 2023 was a little, the Q1 was 4.9%, so that was a good quarter. But really, after that, it didn't do much. I would argue that we're on one of the best trends outside of the initial bounce post-COVID. So thank you for joining Smoker Up as a member. I appreciate you. What are you smoking her up? No, I'm kidding. Don't tell me. All right, so we got pending home sales coming in at 9. We got Kansas Fed by 10. I won't be here. But let's rock and roll, and we'll get through more of this data. And I'm going to jump down here and go. I'm going to switch to live on some of this for the CNBC feed, just so I see what's going on, because I don't want to be missing out. I don't know. I'm probably going to skip some of the like what they're talking about on CNBC. I just don't think there's anything really interesting. Who comes up with the forecast numbers? A bunch of it depends on what you're looking at. So you got a bunch of feds in different regions of the United States. They'll have forecasts for different numbers, and that's probably what the bulk of what we're talking about, at least from today's data. And then in other portions of data, you got it coming from different places. But from most of the stuff that we talked about today, it's from the feds in these local jurisdictions that are coming up with these numbers. All right, so we're going to get back to this. We're going to get back to all the things I want to talk about in here. So again, Canada, you try and fuck with us, and the EU, we're going to fuck you hard. That's the message we got out for them. Trump, we're taking Greenland. Trump to sign executive orders. More executive orders coming out at 2 p.m. today, guys. Yeah, let's keep going here. So again, I might actually jump to this real quick. So Elon Musk, tariff impact on Tesla is still significant. So I actually have a post about this. Let's talk about it. So 1 second here. I made a little post, and then there's another one here that's great. So Elon said, yeah, hey, these are still significant, but how significant are they? I think is the real question, right? So let's talk about this. It looks like Tesla still comes out on top when compared to all Japanese, Korean, I should have put, and U.S.-based auto manufacturers when it comes to the 25% tariff increase. Why? Because about 40% of Tesla parts come from out of the country when looking at across their entire fleet. And you can go into this and see see the data points and like what came out of it and what Grok said too, and all the details for like the Model S, the Model X, the Model 3, the performance, the long range, the Y, looking at all the data, looking at how they're trafficking back and forth, and then coming up with the analysis of it. But it's roughly 40%, right? But here's the thing. The numbers for Ford, GM, Stellantis, and again, Kia, Hyundai, they're even worse or just as bad. But for these guys, they're really bad. So it's averaging about 69% are coming from out of the country versus 40, and that is a much bigger number. It's almost double, right? And in some cases for Stellantis, it's real bad. Stellantis is fucked, and they produce a ton of different vehicles. Their 85% of their parts come from out of the country, and they do a lot of like bring it over here, move it over here, bring it back to the U.S., bring it over, and so they get even more like they're going to be really impacted. It's going to be super bad for Stellantis. But if you look at Ford and GM, they're running about 65% too. So again, these are horrific numbers. They will be the most impacted. I asked if Jeff could take a look at this. I don't know if he did. Let's see. All right, so Jeff took a look at it. Jeff Lutz, if you guys don't know him, he's awesome in the Tesla space. He's got tons of manufacturing expertise, and I love this man. He said it's less for Tesla, actually, and remember, it's on part value imported, not percentage of part count. Tesla part value outside of the U.S. is much smaller as the higher dollar battery modules, motors, etc. are done in the U.S. There will be some period of U.S. MCA carve out for parts for Mexico and Canada. All right, wonderful. Thank you. This is what's awesome about like the Tesla community and just how quickly you can get information. So the impact is even less. But the great thing is that Elon is protecting himself from all the liberals right now, letting them know that, hey, I'm impacted too. Tesla didn't get a waiver. But like he said, the impact is even less. So let's say it's half of what these other auto manufacturers have, or even less because of the part value and the fact that all the big stuff is being done in the U.S. and it's the little tiny components that make up a smaller percentage of the overall cost of the vehicles are being done overseas. I love that, man. I love that so fucking much. And I'm going to repost his comment here because Jeff is a stud. And I really appreciate him responding so quickly to it. Let's read here real quick, back in comments. Is NAFTA basically dead? Canada? Yeah, it's going to be redone. I don't know if I'd say it's dead, but I would say it's definitely going to have a rebirth. I could see that. Robert Wild, Elon is saying this just to justify price increases. Maybe that too. Imagine this. Imagine if they don't get hit as much and they're able to increase their margins on top of the mega packs spinning up in Shanghai, on top of FSD subscriptions going active in Q2 for China, on top of India spinning up, on top of the Saudi Arabia that's spinning up, or one of these other countries. There's so many things coming. And again, in two months, April, May, then June, by 3 months, we're gonna have the Cybercab going live in Texas. On top of the Model Y ramp. And this Model Y, guys, is the best car in the entire world. For the price point, once they're done with the launch edition, which I'm sure is going to have massive demand, and they're going to have really high margins off of, because I paid $60K. I paid $60 fucking K for our Model Y for my wife. Okay? And it's well worth it. It's well worth it. It's a beautiful fucking car. It's so much better than the one we got 4 years ago. It's quieter. It's got a bigger screen. It's got a screen in the back. It's got air conditioned seats now. It didn't have that before. It's got all the windows are like sealed better. The tint on the top is like 30 to 40% more efficient than it was in the last one. The suspension system's better. The stereo's better. It's got everything's fucking amazing. The lighting system. It's got the matrix lighting, so you can just keep it on brights all the time. And if it sees a car, it'll delete the pixels so that they don't see brights, and you never have to turn them off. So it'll just delete the pixels for every car that has lights that it sees. It is such a fucking better car than anything else on the road. Manny, thank you so much for the 50 euro, right? Or is that euro? Something else? Really appreciate you, my friend. Thank you very much. It's so much better. And Tesla's just going to crush it, guys. Tesla's going to crush it so much. My My belief behind Tesla right now is so strong. It is so strong. Also, I love this, the Shatner, William Shatner, for you old people. Somebody said, oh, you said something nice about Elon. He said, have I ever said anything bad about him? He goes, no matter how murky the present may seem, the future is very bright. And I believe Elon Musk represents the future. So you got the original man who visited the stars telling you that Elon Musk is the future. And he said he's not going to Mars. He's probably getting too old. He already went to space once. That's enough for him, right? We've got a 9,000-ton gigapress coming for Cybertruck gigacastings that's rolling into Texas. The new Model Y is cheaper to make on top of all that. Yeah, it's cheaper. Dude, it's just, this company is the best company in the world. And again, even FSD, all these guys in China that have tried all these other FSD models, they're like, holy shit, Tesla's better. It's better. Any of the honest ones, I watch a bunch of YouTubers out of China. They're like, this thing's amazing and it works everywhere. Yeah. Jesse, I'm surprised you don't work at a Tesla dealership. I mean, I don't, but I give them a lot of money. I bought 3 Teslas last month. So I do my part. Peggy, holy. Out of 36 votes, 35 were in favor of approving Tesla and FSD for FSD in Europe. So FSD in Europe, guys, subscriptions for FSD in Europe. Fuck. This is insanely good news and a step closer to seeing Tesla's FSD going live. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. Oh yeah, hey guys, you need LiDAR, right? Let's just look here. Do you need LiDAR? Look at this. That is scary as fuck. Oh yeah. These guys are like, oh my god, my car's gonna get fucked. Let's speed them up so they sound like chipmunks. Look at this. The Huawei shit, the BYD shit, none of it can do this, okay? It has to use high def mapping, LiDAR, and all this bullshit. Same thing with Neo. They all suck. They're all fucking garbage. Just like Waymo is fucking garbage. They're all garbage. They can't do this. Fuck that. What? What? Oh my god. Sorry, I haven't seen this one yet. What the fuck was that? Did you just see that? Yeah, little Chinese chipmunks. Adorable as shit. My god. That was insane. I can't even believe that. Let's just go back here. Look at this. Look at what that just did. There are like maybe an inch or two on each side of this car as it goes through here. That's amazing, guys. That's amazing. Thank you, Sid 007 for joining. I appreciate you. John Kirby, hey Jesse, what's your opinion on holding TSLL through earnings? I'm going to. I don't give a shit. Man, if I have to, I believe so. I have such a high conviction in Tesla this year. Such a high conviction. If I have to, I will add more. I will pull it from whatever I have to. I'm not getting rid of it. I've got $350,000 in TSLL, a 2x fund for Tesla, and I'm not getting rid of it. And if anything, what I'll probably do, I might figure out some calls that I want to invest into, and if they get butchered on earnings and people can't see the future, which happens with Tesla, they can't see it. That's where I make my money. That's what I did earlier this year. That's how I made a couple $1 million very quickly off of Tesla. And I've been able to buy into this dip on Bitcoin and Bitcoin related proxies because of that, and ARKG and these other things, right? So I will take advantage of that again, and I'll probably buy some calls for Tesla, or maybe if I'm lazy, I'll just stack with TSLL again. But I'm not worried. I'm going to take advantage of this. I hope it drops more. I hope I hope so. I hope so, because this is such a great opportunity, in my opinion. Did I watch the Hood event? I didn't watch it, but I sped through it. Hood is literally turning into a bank. I like what was it? It wasn't Cortex. What was it? Was it? I don't know. They have like their AI version where it'll tell you what happened with a particular stock investment that you have too. They're allowing you to do money transfers. I think they're brilliant. I think that Vlad is brilliant. I've never seen, at least in the banking sector, in the investment exchange sector, I've never seen anybody like him. He is very driven, awesome with promotion. The presentation was great. I saw that he had Amit, Crossroads, Future Invest, Tanner there as well. It's brilliant to bring these guys along. Probably paid for their trips, I'm guessing. It's very, very smart. It's cheap advertising, and these guys will definitely push you. And I'm sure Amit probably got the sweetest deal because he's got the best reach right now. He's done an amazing job expanding his YouTube channel and his X profile. And again, he's in bed with, I don't want to say in bed, that's probably not the right word, but Amit also has connections again with Vlad, not just Vlad, but Alex Karp too, because he's done a great job presenting himself as a good neutral party. He doesn't get too crazy. He doesn't say the crazy shit that I do. And so he's done a great job, I think, and has a lot of street cred and has a lot of people looking at him now. So that's just that's easy advertising, I think, for Robinhood. I think Vlad is brilliant. Alex Karp is brilliant. Elon Musk is brilliant. There's a bunch of brilliant people. I pity SoFi right now. I pity SoFi. Yeah, Silas says, is it inferior to Hood product wise? SoFi? I say so. Yeah, Hood is the only credit card I use. It's easy. I can add virtual cards. So anytime I'm signing up for a service online, I can just add a virtual card and I can get rid of that virtual card at any moment. And so canceling memberships is just boom, fucking easy, right? You could have a virtual card for every membership and you can do it in 2 seconds. And then I can have a card for my daughter, so that she has a little set limit. And I added one for my wife really easily. And then they have the best payout around. That's just the card. Their product for their exchange is just like the mobile. They're just getting better by the minute. By the minute. It's amazing product. So I'm very excited about them. But again, 2 months, probably closer to 3 months. These things are going to be on the road. I might travel to Texas just to hang out in one of these, maybe do a feed or something, just to get the experience down, and check out Giga Texas. I need a vacation. I need more vacations. I got one planned for June. I need more vacations though. So I might do a follow-up where maybe I just go on a road trip and myself in a Cybertruck and go to Texas. I would like to check out Giga Texas if I can get in there, and I would like to just see this product in action and get an opportunity to ride in it. And maybe that's early July, but I would like to do that. Oh, you live in Austin? Awesome, John. Maybe I can stop by and say hi. Jesse the Patriarch, controlling female spending. Not so much. I mean, my wife is awesome. She controls a lot in our lives, but I've always been the finance guy. So I'm the one that lets her know when we're good to spend and when we're not. Lately, it's been good to spend. I bought a lot of cars and other stuff, and it will probably continue to be that way. Grok. I've got Grok. I haven't gotten it. I haven't started using it yet, but there's a standalone app that I'm a part of the beta now. I'm probably going to pay $30 a month so that I can test it out. Okay. So I'll be, because I get the newest features before other people, and I think they give you more processing, more compute. So I'm going to go ahead and continue the setup with that, even though I also have it on X. I've been paying for it there. Grok is now on Telegram, though, too. Grok is going to be everywhere, guys. Sawyer Merritt, Tesla is expected to release their Q1 production and delivery results 1 week from today. So again, April 2nd. So April 2nd is tariff day. April 2nd is delivery day for Tesla. Lots of shit happening. Eric says Tesla, June 17th, 2027, $400 calls is about 2.4x leverage for a 900 price target. Do you mean like a 2.4x multiplier? That doesn't sound too bad. You're getting a lot of insurance there. That's over 2 years for it to hit 400. I personally would be shooting for maybe a 600 for June of 2027, and I think you'd get a better multiplier. And I call it multiplier, but whatever. I mean, it's essentially leverage. Yeah, sure. But I would think you'd be getting closer to maybe 4x if you do something like that or higher. And I think that's a very realistic target. It's dumb. I mean, the low 400s is what we were at 4 years ago. So, and it was overvalued at that point. But we're getting ready to ramp at such a crazy rate. June of 2027, I think, is a really brilliant time for Tesla. And so I think it's easy to go to 600. I think. Well, what did you say, though? 400 calls. June 2027, 400 calls is about 2.4x. I'm confused by what you said. Are they 400 strikes or 900 strikes? Yeah, I'm not sure what you said there. All right, Grok is unbelievable. It has helped me in researching companies and prepping for job interviews in ways I couldn't even imagine. Yeah, dude, it's only going to get better. Sid 007. JT, I'm sure their money delivery service ATM is crazy. What they announced, Uber, your cat. Yeah, it's going to be great. I think the thing that's going to be the biggest competition for Hood in regard to their banking is going to be X payments, and X payments is coming out fast. Rashab said, "Hey Jesse, Metaplanet is trading at 6x NAV. MicroStrategy is around 2. Yeah, and Mara is is MicroStrategy at 2 or 1.7? I thought it was 1.7. Let me just check. Give me a sec. MicroStrategy is at I can barely see this. 1.95. Yeah, so I guess you're right. It's close to 2x. I don't like the Metaplanet NAV. Yeah, it's crazy. But you know what's even more nuts? Mara's. I think Mara's is in like the 1.2 or something range. Let me know in chat if you guys know it. Their NAV is like fucking nothing right now. So they're the best deal. They're the best deal, and they're still trading really low too. Let's see here. Money. Okay, Sid. I got the 2025 Y, not Juniper. Love it. Through with FSD. Was waiting for Juniper, but couldn't wait. Leased it 3 years. I'll get a new. Yeah, and you know what? Even that one's great. I bought that one for my mother-in-law. She hasn't used it yet. It's got very low miles. I bought it with like 52 miles on it or something, or 5. I don't know. It's a super fucking low number. And all I did was drive it from the place to her garage, and it's sitting there waiting for her to come back from Panama, where she's got family and where she was born. But that one was great. It was super quiet, great car. It's just the new Y. It's just everything is better. It's insane. You don't realize just how good Tesla is until you take a car that was from 4 years ago, the Y, and then again yours even better. Like that one's definitely better than my original car 4 years ago. And then looking at what they just produced right now with the Juniper is fucking insane. This company just keeps getting better. Thoughts on Robinhood announcing their banking? I did talk about that a little bit. I think they're amazing. So if you go back a little bit, you'll see that. I think they're amazing. I think Vlad is brilliant. And I think their product offerings are only continuing to get better. They're going to make a lot of money. I know a price target got raised for them to 105. That is close to where my price target was. If we just jump over here. And it looks like, guys, we got about 30 minutes until opening bell. So the price target I think I saw from somebody was like 105, which is up here. That's even higher. I was saying that we could get to 90 really easily. And that is about almost a doubling in the stock. I do think a lot of the asymmetric bet is out of this, though, because if it doubles, it'll be an $80 billion company. And I think that's a pretty high valuation once we get to that level. So once we get, or if it goes up to here, if it goes up to that 105 range that we saw with that latest price target, that's 130% higher than where we are. So that'll be close to a $100 billion company. I think that's pretty fair when it gets to that level. That's a lot of money. So I don't see as much of an asymmetric bet here, but I think there's just such a great company. And I think it can definitely get to that, 890 to 105 level this year. Please have Doge for X payments. Only reason I hang on to that. Yeah, me too. I've got some Doge. I think I've still got some Doge. I got to double check. But yeah, I've got it for that reason too. Totally. 400 strikes. Okay. Yeah, I think if it gets to 900. Oh, I got you. See, I like the 600 strike maybe a little bit better. So now I get you, Carlo. Yeah, I think I like the 600 better because I think it's pretty guaranteed that we get to 600. We're not that far away from 400. I feel like that's too conservative for 2.25 years from now. You know what I mean? Like 2.25 years from now. So me personally, I would probably do like a 600 at that level, but that's just me. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just some loser in his basement. Heidi, thank you for joining. Or Haiti, thank you for joining as a member. Connor, are you planning on investing in Hood soon? Yeah, probably not. Like, don't get me wrong. If once my asymmetric things do really good, if for some reason Hood isn't doing as good, like Hood isn't doing as good, or Palantir isn't doing as good, or they've chopped for a while maybe. There's a couple of companies like that where I would totally buy them. Or let's say ARGT, Argentina. Argentina is so impressive. There's definitely diversification I'll do into these other things, but that would probably be at the latter part of the year after making shit tons of money in Bitcoin and Tesla, especially Bitcoin-related investments, and maybe RG. And hopefully some TLT. That hasn't been like a super great hedge because of the stagflation narrative. So I'm down like I sold a bunch of stuff in profit. I was up like up to 15% in profit, 20% in profit. So I'm probably negative by like maybe 5-10%, somewhere in that range right now in that total position as a hedge. But again, I'm not looking to get rich off of that one. It was just a hedge, and it was a great opportunity for me to buy the dip. So I can't complain about TLT at all. But it has not performed well lately. It's down 0.66 yesterday and 0.33 today, and it's a 10x multiplier. So that means that's like 10% or something in a couple of days or close to it. I don't know if it's been dropping by that because it was really undervalued, but it's not great. All right, let's hop over here real quick. I want to get back to this and roll through this as quickly as possible because we got so much news to get through. Yeah, that Tesla FSD video, isn't that insane? They're so good, guys. I use FSD all the fucking time. I love it. And there's got to be a version that we haven't seen yet that just blows that away. So I'm very stoked. Nick, Sandy Monroe discusses it all the time, how fast they move to make the products get better. Yeah, they're really the best. And then China probably comes in next. And then it's everybody else. South Korea, I actually think, does a really good job on their cars. I don't hate the Kia or Hyundai brands. I just think that I think it's Tesla, and then it's some branding in China, just because they have slave labor still. But they're not as good at manufacturing. They're just not. They can't do it. They can't, even with slave labor, they can't do it the way Tesla can do it. And Tesla pays their employees better in China. Mike, Carlo, seems them Tesla calls are pretty expensive. Yeah, they are. Yeah, agreed. That's why you'd want to hire a strike, because you want to be able, I always want at least 3x a multiple, the underlying asset on a return. I prefer that it be higher. 4 to 6x would be better if we get to 900 or 1200, maybe even 10x if we can get to 1200. That would be cool. Because again, you're talking about 2+ years from now. And those calls were probably way better when Tesla was at what? The low 200s, 222 range, before it jumped a shit ton. Before it jumped to 288 from 222. So they probably would have been better around that time. Mara, the NAV is 1.09 per grok. Isn't that fucking insane? That's why I've been loving. That's why I was buying Mara so much, guys, because that chart is just wonderful. And they've got other aspects of their business too that they're working on. But you had this downward channel that I think is just insanely cheap right now. This stock went as low as like 65% from where it was in March of last year. Today, it's still down almost 61%. And it's running at a 1.09 NAV. Fucking crazy. That they're basically saying that the company's valued at their Bitcoin. I can't believe that. And then they got like Auradine or whatever it is. They've got like all these side projects where they're trying to increase efficiency. They're jumping into the convertible bond space. They're doing all these things that I think make sense for them. And they're the biggest Bitcoin holder, publicly traded miner on the planet. And so that to me is just insane. I think the calls are still great to buy here. I do, actually. I don't think the Mara calls have actually done that well. Let me pull up real quick here. We'll look at my port super fast in regard to that. Let's just look here. Mara calls are, I guess they bounced the December ones. So I'm in September and December on Mara calls. I've got September's with a 30 and December with a 30. This is just me starting to redistribute and place my bets in a couple of different areas. I am starting to go to the Decembers because I feel like this market cycle is just a little more extended. And when we look at the history of market cycles, they are extended. So we'll look at that in a second here. But I do think that these are still stupid undervalued. Run the options profit calculator and look at what can happen with this. I do believe that with Mara, I strongly believe that we can still get up into the 80s. And if you run that profit calculator on it, you tell me what it looks like. I think it looks brilliant. And so I see a lot of opportunity with Mara, especially at a multiplier of only 1.09. They're basically being valued at their Bitcoin. It's fucking crazy. Kyle Wright, I have a Hardware 3 Model Y and use FSD every drive, hoping to get... Dude, even Hardware 3, it's like you're running legacy shit with a worse camera system, worse processor. It still does a great job. Tell me what you think, Kyle. But I think that's the one my parents have. I think it's still pretty fucking awesome. Obviously, Hardware 4 is going to be better. Jesse Kraniak, Kia was my first non-American car. So much car for the money. I agree. Connor, think the calls are still great to buy here. I think that's from Mara. Yeah, I think it is. All right, let's keep rocking and rolling here. So again, April 2nd is going to be a big day. We get the tariffs, we get delivery numbers for Tesla. It's going to be a big day. Kobayashi, short interest on U.S. stocks has jumped to 2.3%, the highest since the pandemic. So again, short interest on stock on a, I think this is just for Tesla, right? Oh no, this is U.S. stocks. I put it in the wrong place. All right, let me go over here. Should put that in the other one. Got to store that in the right appropriate place. But this is good. This is good. Again, insane expectations. Expectations like we haven't seen in 40 years, right? For what stock performance is going to look like. And CleanSpark short interest is at 35%. And short interest is at some of the highest levels we've seen since the pandemic. And again, 2022 was the time to short stocks. This down here was the time to short stocks, right down here. Nobody did. No, there was no short interest, again, or low amounts of it, I should say. And then now it's been climbing dramatically. And this is wrong. And again, U.S. total put option volumes are stupid high. Everybody's shorting CleanSpark. Everybody's shorting Mara. Mara, guys, oh my God. Real quickly, I got to jump to that. Mara, you got to see this. There are now 9, this is as of the 25th. It might be different today. Shares left to short. Not 900, not 9,000, 9 shares. 9 shares of short availability for Mara. What the fuck? Now, again, that changed. There were 1.5 million at one point, but this is just showing that the amount of shorting on some of these companies is absolutely fucking insane. It's crazy. It's super crazy. All right, let's keep going down. We got more to talk about. Hyundai EVs to get access to 20,000 Tesla superchargers nationwide. Awesome. Starting April 7th. That's a win for Tesla. Breaking. Tesla officially launches in Saudi Arabia on April 10th. Awesome. Q2 is going to look sick for Tesla. If you're not looking at Q2, you're retarded. Sawyer Merritt, the first Chinese-made Tesla Megapacks are officially on their way to Australia, headed to Queensland, where they will be installed for the second stage of the giant Western Downs battery. Tesla still retains 1/3 of the market share in the country. This is FSD Mission Impossible. Look at this. I'm going to kill the sound on that, and we'll speed it up a little bit. But look at this. Look at FSD. I'll do 1.5. Look at it running around China. Look at these obstacles. Look at this. There's like fucking barricades between some of this. Look at this. What is it doing? It's trying to get in here. Okay. Cruising along. I didn't even know you could go that way. Look at the roads. They're so insane. Just like, and again, just from what we watched a second ago, like so many obstacles in China. So many obstacles, whether it's like moped drivers, whether it's cars, whether it's buses, whether it's crazy side streets, weird blockades. There's just like, look at this. It's just fucking chaos. And yet it still does a great job. And the other stuff out there just can't do it. It can't do it at all. It's not even close, guys. Not even a close comparison whatsoever. Dalton said AI-13, so the Hardware 3 vehicles in China might get FSD approved by April 10th, and FSD subscriptions could be enabled late April or early May. So, and then again, Europe. Tesla sales in Europe up 69.8%. So you'll see some where they say they're down, some where they say they're up. The numbers are actually probably pretty good. And even with all the craziness, the numbers are pretty good. Also, Zero Hedge, Trump threatens tariff blitz on EU, Canada, if they work against the U.S. I don't know. I think I got this in the wrong fucking place, too. Lol, what a fucking retard. This guy's the retard. Ryan, you're a fucking retard. What is his description? Let's see what this fucking retard's description is. Husband, father, son, anti-politician. Okay. Thank you for that. If only politics didn't matter at all in society, that would be great. So let's just look at some of this in depth. Again, he's going after, oh God, this is a mess. I need to like turn on the Brave. If I turn on the Brave advertising like stuff, I have problem with a couple of sites. I got to figure that out. But again, European Union works with Canada in order to, so we're going to make it to where we're going after them hard. I don't know. Oh, auto imports. There's a few things I want to highlight in here. So where most U.S. auto parts come from, Mexico. Again, a lot of them are coming from China, but they're coming from Mexico too because they're using that as like a surrogate to be able to get it to us. But Mexico, Japan, South Korea, Canada, Germany. So there's going to be a lot of pain felt through these regions. And also, I'm not worried about Japan and having some Japanese yen carry trade unwinding. I think that already happened. The Japanese yen carry trade is pretty non-existent at this point. They said, we noted that Japanese car makers are among those facing the most devastating impact of Trump auto tariffs, probably sending them into a recession. I agree. It could. I'll try ad block. I'll see if that works better. So we've got parts of Europe getting ready to go into a recession because of this. We've got Canada that's going to go into a recession. We've got Japan that's going to go into a recession. So these guys have, I would say, an incentive plan in order to be able to remove tariff boundaries with the United States and do everything they can to work with the United States to get some kind of delays on the 25%, which we can do, and we probably will do, in order to be able to get it to where they're moving stuff to the United States, especially the most expensive things, in order to be able to avoid tariffs. So I'm sure we'll work with them on extensions if they're willing to dedicate massive amounts of money coming into the United States and immediate action to resolve some of our concerns, right? Fox and Trox says, for all the haters, this is day 66 of 1460. Dude, I told my friend Tony that. He's my Korean brother from another mother. Not North Korea, South Korea. But not that it matters. But I told him that yesterday. I was like, yeah, and Trump was, there was this meme that was just letting people know, and that was like 2 days ago, so it was 64 days of the 1460 Trump presidency. So for all the haters, you got some pain ahead of you. And again, we're just and here's the post from Sawyer Merritt where he said that 100% of the United States vehicles were like 100%, but really it's not that. Because we do get parts from overseas, and there is impact, and Elon pointed it out. And I think he did that smartly because we want people to know that the United States gets hurt a little bit. It's very smart to do. Or I'm sorry, Tesla gets hurt a little bit. It's very smart to do that, to get that telegraphed. All right, now let's go back to the Trump stuff because there's or maybe Bitcoin. There's so much to talk about. You know what? Defense and war. Let's go there. There's so much to talk about today. I'm going to try and rock through this as much as possible. We got 20 minutes left. So this is Trump had to say on attacks with the Houthis. So they're getting absolutely fucking destroyed.
The Houthis are looking to do something. They want to know, how do we stop? Can we have peace? The Houthis want peace because they're getting the hell knocked out of them.
The Houthis, the same people that are death to America, death to Israel, all this stuff that talk about wiping us off the face of the earth, that have been attacking all these ships in the Red Sea, increasing prices as we have to go all the way down across Africa if we have ships that are going through the ports that are working with the United States or from the United States or from Israel. All that's getting fixed.
It's been very, very strong. The Houthis are dying for peace. They don't want this. And they're bad. Look, they were knocking ships out of the ocean. We had in the Suez Canal, they only have about 20% of the ships going through. They have to go through a different way, which takes weeks of travel. And that really affects commerce. But the Houthis have been hit hard, and they want to negotiate peace. But I don't think they're quite.
Yeah, so so just, you know what, I'll show you more of that in a second. Let me finish this. I'll talk to the ballistic missiles being fired at Israel. We'll talk all about that in a second.
Nothing classified was shared?
Say it?
Do you still believe nothing classified was shared?
Well, that's what I've heard. I don't know. I'm not sure. You'll have to ask the various people involved. I really don't know. I can only tell you this. You don't want to talk about it. The Houthis have been horrible to the world. What they've done, killed a lot of people, and knocked down a lot of ships and planes and anything else. It's not just the ships. And they have been hit. They have been hit harder than they've ever been hit. And they want us to stop so badly. And they've got to stop. They've got to say no mas. But I can only say that the attacks, it's attacks every day, every night. It's not just the one. You're talking about one. The attacks have been very successful. Even beyond our wildest expectations. We've hit them very hard, very successfully, and we're going to do it for a long time. We're going to keep it going.
We're going to level them. Also, U.S. Mulls deploying battlefield AI at Mexico border. Palantir talks to support initiative. They're probably going to be integrated with it. Look at this stuff, guys. There's so much fucking going on. Watch this video.
Imagine hundreds of drones attacking a military base at the same time. Your traditional defense system might take down 10, maybe 15, but the rest? They will overwhelm your defenses. Meet a Pyrus high-power microwave system designed to eliminate drone swarms instantly. Unlike conventional weapons that rely on expensive missiles or gunfire, Leonidas uses directed energy to fry enemy electronics in milliseconds. No bullets, no explosions. Imagine...
Yeah, Joe Lonsdale is a beast. And again, this ties in. Let me just jump down here to this talking point. Source, ARQ Daily, and Palantir. Short-range air defense just went from Rambo to Silicon Valley. So backed by Palantir Warp Speed, they're scaling fast because the future isn't pew, 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 it's zap, zap, zap. So again, this is all Joe Lonsdale, Palmer Luckey, Alex Karp. All these guys and more are all working together to create integrated systems that are going to be devastating on the battlefield. And yeah, we're not fucking around anymore. That's all I have to say about that. Gotta hit one more because we got more to talk about here in the defense and war sector. This is from the White House. Our brave warfighters executed counterterrorism airstrikes, killing dozens of ISIS jihadis hiding in a cave complex in Somalia 20 hours ago. We continue to mop up the mess left by Biden for years. Terrorists killed Americans with impunity. Now they are the prey, and we are the hunters. This is from the fucking White House. We're not fucking around anymore. Shamas said the neocon warmonger playbook. So let's just read this real quick. Carolyn Levitt said Steve Witkoff was provided a secure line of communication by the U.S. government, and it was the only phone he had in his possession while in Moscow. If the Wall Street Journal editorial board cared about the truth, they could have reached out to our team to comment before running these lies. Classic fake news. So again, this is the Signal conversation where there was the stuff that was pulled up in regard to the dialogue. It's not that big of a deal. Hegseth said it really well. There was really nothing that was given away in the information. And again, these guys are trying to paint a bad light, and it's not working. It's not working. All that stuff's going to be fixed. It won't be a problem anymore. Now, on the war front, what's really important, a significant buildup is happening in Diego Garcia. So if you look over here, here's Yemen. Over in this section, here's the Red Sea. Here's that entry where it's really tight, where Yemen's been attacking all the ships, right? And they're just south of, and you got to remember that the Houthis only control about a third of Yemen. There's the other side where people are starving and all the problems, and Saudi Arabia has been fighting a war against this to try and help and basically get rid of the Houthis because they're Iran backed and Iran's over here. But we've deployed a bunch of stealth bombers and other equipment to this region so we can hit both Iran and Yemen. And we've let Iran know that we will level them as well and have plans to do so. We also, on the Pacific side, are arming too in order to be able to get to basically increase our military output in the region closer to China and to be able to thwart anything that might be coming from that area. Let's see here. SpaceX, on the 3rd of March, the U.S. Air Force uploaded a notice to the Federal Register that it plans to construct 2 rocket launching pads on Johnston Island, a remote unincorporated U.S. territory 700 miles off Hawaii. So again, we're looking to, I would say, potentially militarize. And again, I don't know what this one's specifically used for, but I think we're trying to show our power both on both sides of the world, on the east and west, that we're going to have military facilities there, we're going to have rocket launch facilities there, and we're going to defend America at all costs. And again, there's the F-47, in case you guys didn't catch it. This thing is a drone swarm mega ship, and these things will be able to control hundreds of drones that can both act as defense and offense. So each one of these F-47s, which I think Boeing will be getting help from SpaceX and probably Tesla and anything Elon can offer, I'm sure, behind the scenes, and other tech companies like Palantir and all the stuff Joe's working with and Palmer Luckey, they're all going to be heavily integrated and working together to be able to help this with the systems of the F-47, the 6th gen fighter that will be a real fighter. It's very exciting, guys. What's coming right now is going to be crazy. A lot of really good stuff coming. Jesse, I haven't been driving much. Every Uber Tesla I was assigned was swapped out for a Toyota. Christopher said, Anduril, rumor has it, they have metal storm style bomber drones. Oh, dude, they're going to have so many good things coming out of Anduril. I have no doubt. Silas, when I was in Cape Town 2 years, you could see a lot of diverted container ships going around the Cape of Good Hope. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. And yeah, Cape Town was probably just seeing massive amounts of ships. And again, there's additional cost that goes along with that. Even though freight costs have been plummeting, it still, creates problems. I'm going to get my bathroom break out of the way right now, guys. I'm going to move up here real quick. We're going to see what these guys have. Big bets on AI. We're going to let them talk for a minute. I will be right back. I'm just going to get my coffee, hit the restroom, give me 3 minutes, and then we'll go further through the rest of this news because we have a lot to talk about.
We got to wait and see, and we won't really know much until later in the day when you get closer. You know how this works in terms of people actually giving you a sense and whether you've got sort of some of your core investors who are willing to come in for a good amount and happy to step up to a price. But a lot of it comes back to this broader theme that I would raise with you, which is the lifespan of a GPU. And it not only applies to CoreWeave, which obviously has to every year spend an enormous amount on CapEx to buy the latest GPUs from NVIDIA, but it applies to all the hyperscalers and how they're actually depreciating the GPUs they bought last year or 2 years ago or 3 years ago, Jim, and whether they're appropriately depreciating them now, because some say the lifespan is only 3 years or 2 years.
See, I know them as 5-6 years. There's a CUDA software. It sits on top of the stack. That's an NVIDIA product that makes it so that they have extended life. But I would think if you sat down with the CoreWeave people, they too would actually say, listen, we're not quite sure themselves. So it's not like they're saying, listen, it's 8 years, it's 3 years. We think it's 5 years, 6 years. I want to, first of all, congratulate you because you were the first to bring this up, that there are real issues. And it did impact, which you should. Or you're basically just raising points that should be raised because we don't want people to get hurt. Because there is a seductive nature of the revenue growth here that I was looking at.
The EBIT growth is very strong. Obviously, it's at the center of the growth trade, so to speak, in terms of what you want, right? I mean, it's all about the growth of AI, and that's what they're depending on.
And there's also
their access to power. By the way, 1.3 gigawatts of contracted power. But there are a lot of concerns here as well. I raised many of them yesterday. I'm not going to necessarily go through them all again now. But there are a lot of concerns.
Right, and there's also Michael Entrader, the fellow behind it, but they're New Jersey, Livingston guy.
Yeah.
Had been in the Bitcoin, had been in the crypto business, because it was Ethereum, and that is something that people think is a taint. I think that these were always used by miners. That was something called out. Kress, the CFO, called out about 5 years ago for NVIDIA, which is that, look, don't forget, we don't know where the cards are, so to speak.
Kramer explained CUDA is beautiful, what a moron.
Is remarkable.
Okay, so not much.
And frankly, 10 days.
We'll mute him real quick. We'll go. Let's make sure we're live, and that way we're ready to go here in a second. All right, let's keep rocking and rolling. If there's any more news, guys, let me know. I saw a downgrade on an AMD recently. So I'm going to jump. Let's jump to U.S. economy, and then we should probably hit Bitcoin here too. We got a lot to hit. There's the short interest. We already went through that. I just reallocated it. Lance Roberts says, for those knuckleheads running videos and blogs sending warnings that foreigners are dumping U.S. treasuries, that simply isn't the case. In fact, those holdings have risen over the past few years. So again, holders of U.S. treasuries, households, they've grown since the pandemic. The Fed has reduced their holdings. The U.S. government has closely maintained, I would say. Institutions are increasing and foreigners are increasing. So treasuries are not going down, they're going up. Is it nothing burger? Okay. For AMD? Good to know. All right, let's keep rocking. I want to listen to this real quick.
Is anybody paying attention to what's happening in London? I'm going to say it here on the floor of the House to get the scorn of people when I say, you've got a massive Muslim takeover of the United Kingdom going on right before our eyes. They would say, Chip, well, what is wrong with that? Well, I've got some pretty strong concerns about Sharia law and whether that'll be forced upon the American people.
It won't be forced upon the American people, but again, Sharia law could be forced upon the UK. And I've got greater concerns, like J.D. Vance had illustrated before, about how they're a nuclear power. Yeah, France is a nuclear power. UK is a nuclear power. And Muslims with nukes is one of the most frightening things I could fucking think of. It's why we don't want Iran to have them, right? So we need to fix the problems that are going on there, and we will. I have strong belief of that. Secretary Treasury Bessent, this afternoon, and this was yesterday, about 36 hours ago, I was pleased to host House and Senate leaders along with tax writing committee chairs to continue our work to make the Trump tax cuts permanent. Republicans are united behind Trump's economic agenda, including new jobs, bigger paychecks, and more made in America. Today's proactive meeting gives me confidence that a swift time frame is achievable. This is great. Permanent tax cuts, lower taxes, all the things that we've been talking about. We already talked about this one with Tom Lee. Just again, biggest 2-month decline in history, and the largest, or I should say the largest in the 40 years that they've been tracking it. The largest two-month decline ever, and the largest in 40 years. That's crazy. Let's see. Sentiment is in the gutter. This is 23 hours ago, but history says that's bullish. Are you positioned for what's next? And again, it's just, there's a ton of signs telling us that this is a great time to buy. You guys do you. I'm in. James E. Thorne, for the record, let's quell our emotions for 1 minute. The world operates on a closed economy where the total value of trade deficits and surpluses must balance out globally. A country cannot independently produce more than it consumes, nor consume more than it produces without creating unstable imbalances. Trade surpluses in one nation necessitate trade deficits in another, reflecting the fundamental principle that there are no free lunches in economics. Over time, persistent imbalances can lead to economic instability as resources are finite and interconnected. Until humanity becomes multiplanetary, global trade must adhere to these constraints, emphasizing the need for balanced production and consumption across nations. Just remember what's happening in China, and they're dumping into the rest of the world when he's talking about this, and then the fact that we're producing very little here. The United States can no longer, and this guy's Canadian, absorb the world's excess supply, as its role as the consumer of last resort has strained its economy through persistent trade deficits. Again, we can print the money, but he's right, it's flawed. The Ricardian theory of trade, which assumes mutual benefits from comparative advantage, breaks down when large economies like China practice mercantilism and the dumping practices that they have, pursuing trade surpluses through subsidies and suppressed domestic demand. Keynes foresaw the issue at Bretton Woods, warning that unchecked imbalances would destabilize global trade. This is what we're fixing. A sustainable system requires addressing mercantilist practices and fostering balanced trade to prevent economic disruption in both surplus and deficit nations. Keynes suggests mechanism to deal with such imbalances. It was rejected. This is not about Trump. This is about the unsustainability of the post-World War II global trading system. So what he's saying here is Trump's approach is to fix that. It's not just about him. It's about what's happening in China, and it's about unfair trade that's causing a lot of these problems. And I 100% agree with that. Let me see. Oh, we jumped around. Oh, I fucking hate it when it does this. All right, let me go. All right, striking chart. Average annual wage. I think we've looked at that already. Oh, and it looks like it's got a quote. The graphic deceptively compares the average wage per full-time equivalent employee of the U.S. with the average wage of all employees around the world. The U.S. graph is also not adjusted for inflation, while the other... Oh, so it's bullshit. That makes sense, actually. All right, let me keep going. All right, so that was that one. The outlook. The next 3 weeks forward guidance are absolutely stacked. So he's talking about Darius Dale. So on Forward Guidance, one of my favorite channels on YouTube, actually, they're going to have the Agnostic. They're going to have Michael Howell from Cross Border Cap, and they're going to have Darius Dale. And they're all great people, so I can't wait to listen to them. Thank you for joining as a member. I feel good. UK saw, yeah, so I said fixed, because sometimes investing.com pisses me off with the way they portray things. They said UK February CPI inflation rises 2.8% year over year. It's like, yeah, that's true, but it's actually was forecast at 3%, and the previous was 3%. So I put fixed. The UK saw inflation come in lower than expected. So again, there's always different ways to word things in order to be able to get it to however you want it, right? And Tom Lee just saying that a face ripper is coming in the days ahead. I 100% agree. And James E. Thorne saying, yes, March 14th was the low. Yes, another V-shaped recovery. I agree. Yes, the retest, the low crowd is wrong again. Yes, if history is our guide, significant rally stands in front of us. Yes, the growth scare is priced in. Are there any concerns about 2026? Yes, but let's cross that bridge when we get to it. Risk on. Fucking greed. All right, let's jump to Bitcoin super fast. And again, we got about 1.5 minutes, so we'll have to be faster until the bell rings, and then we'll check that out, and then we'll get back to the news here. So, Caleb, I said replace could with will. He said Bitcoin could have a super bullish signal flash soon. And I said will. And this is talking about the 120-day Williams oscillator indicator. Makes a full oscillation above the upper bound. Pay attention. And so he's just showing the oscillations that have occurred and what happens with the price. And when we're down here, way down here, it marks the bottom and then the price goes up, right? And when we're way down here, it kind of marks the bottom and then the price goes up. And we're way down here and then the price goes up. So there's this repeatable pattern that we're seeing across everything. Also, Bitcoin, after President Trump's election, we got about a minute until the bell rings. 2016 versus 2024. What do you guys think comes next? I'll tell you. It's not any different. Just in, the blockchain group in France just bought 580 Bitcoin worth of 47.3 million. The blockchain group is Europe's first Bitcoin treasury company. Beautiful. Daniel says California is wasting huge amounts of energy by not mining Bitcoin. Each blue dot is where electricity prices are negative. All this solar was built for the FIT credits, and now California is paying taxes across Western U.S. to take the surplus. So again, it's just it doesn't make any sense. They should be mining Bitcoin, but they're too stupid to, because they got Gavin Newsom running the place. All right, let's get to the bell. Oh, I guess we got a minute. Breaking: President Trump just endorsed Senator Loomis for her Bitcoin advocacy. Remember how she said that she was working close with Trump? I guess that's true. Senator Loomis is an American First warrior for wonderful people of Wyoming. As the chair of the Senate Banking Subcommittee on Digital Assets, Cynthia is working closely with me to make the American crypto capital of the world. Cynthia is fighting tirelessly to grow the economy, cut taxes and regulations, secure our border, defend our always under siege Second Amendment, strengthen our incredible military vets, and put our great farmers and ranchers and energy producers. So again, she's awesome. She's connected. We got the bell. Let me go back here. We got to go back. We got to get the full bell.
No sign they're catching up, so that's rippling through the market today.
40% decline over the year, 41%.
Ding, ding, ding.
Not their season.
Ding, 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 ding. You got to let the stuff catch up anyway.
A CEO of the year, Jim, as you remember, just a couple of months ago.
I was very proud of her, but look, it's been a great run, and they did crush Intel. They did crush Intel.
Let's get the opening bell here in the CNBC Real-Time Exchange. And the big board, it's IR Magazine, celebrating its IR Impact Awards at the NASDAQ Chinese Recruitment Services Provider Buyout.
All right, we got our ding ding. Let's look over here at the board. We got BYD up on the day, 4.9% it says. Starbucks up. The VIX is up 1.91%, but still stupid low. Fannie Mae's up. Optimism. It's an Ethereum layer 2. Sol Strategies is up 1.35. Gold is up slightly. Baba's up. Silver's up. So a lot of Chinese shit and some other shit. Let's scroll down here and see what's in the red. Flux is in the red. Iron's in the red. SoFi's in the red. SoFi, that's going to be a tough one, man. They're just not Hood. They're so inferior to Hood. MSTU down 2%. AMD down almost 3%. Bonk down. MSTX not really too bad. But again, like I was saying, I think we could test. We could close some of those gaps real quick. Your options are getting crushed. Yeah, I believe it. I think mine were too. The ones that I still have are down 25%. So they're definitely getting crushed. Again, they're a 10x multiplier. They're meant to be a hedge. And so they're not hedging much right now. Even though, like I said earlier, I think I said I was down like between 5 and 10% overall because I sold a bunch. You got to remember, I had like 1 million in these things. Now I probably have like 300, 350, maybe a little less between both accounts. So maybe closer to 300. I got to look at the number. But so I'm way less proportion to this than when I was, because I've been buying, again, Mara calls, MSTU and MSTX. Those are sitting real nice for me. If you look over here, still up 40%. It's so crazy to say that MSTX is up 40%. And I was up 66% on MSTU. And this is after yesterday. I'm getting crushed on those. And then Clean Spark is starting to come back. My Cypher Strategies is up almost 10%. So again, some of these plays are starting to play out. Iron didn't do very good. I'm already down 16% in that one. It got butchered yesterday. I might look to buy more of that too. I don't know. It's not as high of a conviction play for me. But I do like it. You know, if HPC takes off, that's my HPC play. And then again, TSLL up about 21, almost 22%. So a lot of things doing good, but yeah, the TLT calls are not. They are not one of the better ones right now. Let's just see what else we got here. I'm just going to refresh. Let me see if if the winners list has changed at all. Let me close that. Let me move this over here. Ooh, SoFi really getting hit now. Let's go back. TSLL up 2.67. It looks like Tesla's up about 1% on the day. That's cool. MicroStrategy is only down about 1%. CleanSpark's down 2.4. Iron's down 3.8. Those non-Bitcoin holding companies, the miners, are just getting fucked. And if you're not top tier, you're getting fucked. ETH Layer 2s are incredibly overvalued, in my opinion. Base is okay, but has no token, thankfully. Yeah, I don't care about shitcoins very much. I do think Solana is probably the better one to own, which is my largest shitcoin holding. And then I got Trump. Just because. And otherwise, I don't care really too much about them. SoFi getting crushed, down almost 5% on the day. Again, Iron next on the list. Flux, Cypher, these smaller Bitcoin miners. Mara's in that list. AMD, that downgrade got hit. BITX is down. So everything's kind of down. I think today, again, I think we closed those gaps, guys. Even if you look over here on the Bitcoin one, you can see where we're hitting the 200. We could maybe even sweep underneath of that towards the 85,000 range, 84s maybe even, and then bounce off of that before doing our breakout. I think that's totally possible. I do think in the S&P, we just closed, real quickly here, we just closed our daily gap, we're real fucking close. So it's right there at like 56.70. We're at 56.82. I expect that to close. And then let's check the NASDAQ version of that, and we'll check the RUT too. So the NASDAQ is real close to closing. Look at that. Oh, it kind of did. The NASDAQ, we'll call that closed. It could go a little bit lower, but we'll call it closed on that gap. And then the Russell. Let's see how the Russell did here. That's on the daily, and that has... Oh, yeah, we're good on the Russell. The Russell got beat up anyway. But, yeah, so we're close. There's a gap right over here. Yeah, we're super close. We're right at these gap closures. I'll probably even just set in a little... Well, I don't even need to set an alert. It's going to close. It's going to close. If anything, I'm going to move this up here. I have no doubt. All right, I want to get back over here, though. So, again, economic data look good, guys. That looked good. It's all about Trump tariffs. If you guys see any news that comes out to you, throw it out there and let me know if I'm missing anything. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep rolling. I did want to speak, though. So, Cynthia Loomis and then, again, Bo. I can't remember Bo's last name. He's the person who's really tied in with, like, the buying of the crypto. Saying that they're going to work hard to get that million Bitcoin. Trump has literally said, yes, what she says is true. I am working very closely with her, with Cynthia Loomis. So I would expect that we're going to work on getting 1 million Bitcoin. And I love this. Michael Saylor, let the GME begin. I love this. GameStop, again, to raise $1.3 billion to buy Bitcoin is fucking insane. I don't know how that isn't bigger news and exploding the price of Bitcoin. But whatever. People were retarded for periods of time. That's okay. The Prime Minister of Pakistan held a government meeting where he discussed investing $3.5 billion into Bitcoin mining. Okay. This is a beautiful chart. So this is the every Bitcoin halving cycle tells a story. We're only 340 days into cycle 4. What's your price prediction for BTC? So everybody's like, the top's in. Really? First cycle, you can see parabolic, right? Now the second cycle, you can see parabola. I'm sorry, that's the green one here. You can see how it started a little bit later, and then it still did really well, right? So the cycle was extended. The third one is this lighter blue here. And I would argue, and have numerous times over and over and over again, that this cycle was neutered and that we would have actually ended up higher. So you can see how the cycles are becoming more prolonged for the peaks after the halving event. And again, I think we would have been like up over here. So they're taking longer to be able to peak, and they're lowering the amount of percentage gain because the size of the network is growing, and that's just math. But look where we are. We are not near the top. We're not fucking remotely near the top. So I would argue that we could end up like in the 300 to 400,000 range pretty easily. And again, my target when I really de-lever and I'm out of all the multipliers is probably between 170, 180, close to 2. It depends on the momentum. But I'm going to be dialed out of all my levered plays by that time. So right about here. And again, maybe that happens, 500 days after that. We still got, what I'm saying is I think we still have 200 days before we reach the peak. And that's a long time. I mean, if you divide up that number, what is that? 6? Yeah, 6 to 7 months is what I'm saying. 6 to 7 months before we reach the peak. So I'm saying we're going to have parabola over the next 6 to 7 months. And it might even be a little more delayed. Again, each cycle, the peak was further out than the last. So maybe it's like almost 600 days as far from the halving, which is about, 250, 300 days from here. Let's say 250 days from here, which is a lot of days. So yeah, I'm very excited about this. This is great. This just shows it's just another way to tell that we're going to be doing well. And so I put this out yesterday and then I took off, but I didn't say it had to happen yesterday. Okay, that's the check. So as you can see from the bottom left, we're not quite there, but we're also not in a bad place. If we bounce off the 200 and do this, I will be perfectly happy. I don't care about 24 to 48 hour timeframes. And another signal that our U.S. Treasuries aren't going away. $4.9 trillion asset manager Fidelity is launching a stablecoin as digital cash for its blockchain-based fund. They will be backing that with U.S. Treasuries. And stablecoins are taking off like crazy. And again, GameStop launched yesterday. We got Nintendo invites Dylan LeClaire to discuss adding Bitcoin to their treasury. What? All these dying companies want Bitcoin so that they can try and survive, okay? And I kind of include Nintendo in that. Banshee says, would you rotate into the underlying stock, Jesse? Which one is that for? Sorry. For some of them. No, for the miners, no. I probably will initially. So as I make money off the calls, I'll rotate that into the underlying. But no, if by the time I get up, if we get to like $180,000 Bitcoin, I'll probably be completely out of all the multipliers. And miner is still a multiplier. MicroStrategy is still a multiplier. I'll be out of all those. I'll just be done. I'll be in like IBIT or something for the rest of the ride if we go to 200, and then I'll step out of that too. Again, I'm always looking for the next thing. I do believe that Bitcoin can do really well, and it's probably not going to drop as much. Maybe it only drops 50+% or low 60s this cycle. But I do think there will still be a pronounced one. But it also depends on how well everything is going. We could have a melt up. So I leave some wiggle room here for me to be able to change my mind if the U.S. economy is just going fucking gangbusters with no sign of of slowing. Then I might change my mind a little bit and think that the cycle could be a little more prolonged and a little higher. But I still probably will get a lot more conservative, and then again just hold like IBIT or something like that that's really liquid. Without a multiplier, and that way if I have downside, I don't get the multiplier to the down. You don't want that. You want to be out of multipliers before you peak. You just do. The SEC Crypto Task Force just announced they will host 4 more crypto roundtables. This is fucking insane. So remember, the last administration hated crypto, hated Bitcoin. Now we're going to have another roundtable on April 11th, April 25th, May 12th, and June 6th. So if you don't realize that these guys are serious about making us the crypto and Bitcoin capital of the world, they are. Let's keep going. Michael Saylor tells Robinhood founder to buy Bitcoin. I agree. They should. And then again, Cooler bought 56.3 Bitcoin for $5 million at 88.824. So you got all these companies just continuing to chase and more continuing to chase, and the U.S. government getting ready to do that. So I think there's a lot of really positive things coming. A lot. Let's go to Trump. Let's see here. Market makers are moving to smooth out the curve on Bitcoin. The cycle peaks will get progressively flatter, as will the troughs. Yeah, exactly. And that's not even just the market makers, man. That's just economies of scale, right? The bigger something gets, the less volatile it gets as it becomes a greater part of markets. So that's just math. It's not market makers. It's just math. All right, let's keep going down here with the Trump side of things. Got a lot to cover. So again, Japanese automakers face massive profit crunch from Trump tariffs. Says a fresh 25% import really hurts them a lot. Japan is especially exposed as autos make up over 30% of their U.S. exports. So these guys will get hurt. But again, that's why they're working with us. They'll work with us to be able to do whatever we want in order to be able to lower trade barriers, to make things more fair, and also, again, look at building some of these plants in the United States. They just have to. Again, math. Mario Nawful, Trump tariffs threaten to blow a hole in UK's budget plans. You know what that means? They're going to print more money. You know what happens when they print more money? Goes into global liquidity. So again, I think global liquidity will mostly be driven by foreign markets. I think it'll be China. I think it'll be Europe. I think it could be like Japan. And Japan's like talking about raising rates and slowing their inflation down. I don't know. I think there's going to be some about faces that have to occur with them and other countries. And we'll work with them. We'll work with them. Again, we have all the power here, but we'll work with these countries to be able to ease their pain while benefiting us. UK Finance Minister Rachel Reeves' spring statement is already under pressure after 25% tariffs from the U.S. in this global trade war. The Office for Our Budget of Responsibility warned tariffs could wipe out Reeves' entire $9.9 billion fiscal headroom, with UK GDP potentially dropping 1% at its peak. Cars make up about 10% of British exports to the U.S. Luxury brands like Jaguar and Bentley would be hit hard. Economists say Reeves may be forced to raise taxes by autumn to keep up with ironclad fiscal rule intact. Raising taxes in Europe. Ouch. Like that's not already happening in so many ways. Eric Doherty, breaking in stunning development, America's approval rating. Oh, okay. Approval rating is, so it went from 29% on CNN to NBC at 27%. And 26%, I think, was Rasmussen. I could be wrong about the exact numbers for each, but very fascinating. Trump demands an immediate investigation after Judge Boasberg is assigned a fourth Trump case. So statistically, this is like impossible. And so it shows that there's lawfare. And again, that the Republicans are going to unleash this week. Mike Johnson was talking about they're going to take the other tools in their tool set and go after these guys. Yeah, Tesla's up 2% today, which means TSL's up 4%. Awesome. Bitcoin stuff getting hit, but Tesla doing all right. How disgraceful is it that a judge, James Boasberg, has just been given a fourth Trump case, something which is statistically impossible? There's no way for a Republican, especially a Trump Republican, to win before him. He is highly conflicted, not only in his hatred of me, massive Trump derangement syndrome, but also because of disqualifying family conflicts. Boasberg, who is the chief judge of the D.C. District Court, seems to be grabbing the Trump cases all to himself, even though it is not supposed to happen that way. Is there still such a thing as the wheel, where the judges are chosen fairly at random? The good news is that it probably doesn't matter, because it's virtually impossible for me to get an honest ruling in D.C. Our nation's courts are broken, with New York and D.C. being the most preeminent of all in their corruption and radicalism. There must be an immediate investigation into the rigged system before it's too late. Let's keep going here. And this is the guy. I love this. So, judge says bombs must be removed from Tesla dealership, must be put back. So, again, just got to have a little bit of humor. But this is the douchebag we're talking about. Also, here's an illegal immigrant talking about illegal immigration. And he just wants to point out a few facts. This is a good one.
We want to become an American, and yet they're out there waving the fucking flag, protesting this and that, all that shit. If you are legal, what the fuck do you have to worry about?
This guy is already a lot like me. I like him.
Unless you do some dumb shit and you worry about getting deported. Okay? People like me came here illegally through the process. We're Americans. Okay? We love this country. We love the flag, the American flag, the America. The red, white, and blue. Okay? We don't care about our flag. We left that shit behind. Okay? You dumb son bitches do some dumb shit with your flags. You might well take that flag and shove it up your ass and go back where you come from. Motherfucker. If I see you on the road waving your flag, I will call ICE because I get $750 each, bitch. You want to become...
I love this guy so much, dude. He's so fucking great. Also, the guy who tinted my windows. I got my windows tinted the last couple of days for my nephew's car and my wife's for her new Juniper. And he's Mexican. He originally came into California and then he just hated it, and or I should say, wanted to move somewhere that a little more chill and conservative. And he ended up coming to where I live in the Midwest. And he's a huge Trumper. He's probably a lot like this with a lot less profanity, but I love that there's people that are sticking up for the United States and they're legal immigrants, and they're like, fuck you guys. If you don't love this country, get the fuck out. If you love your other flag more than you love this country's flag, get the fuck out. I love his attitude. He's funny as shit. He should be a comedian. And again, here's James, that piece of shit, who the same judge who tried stopping Trump from deporting terrorists gets this other assignment. Fuck that guy. Republicans are coming after you. We're going to fix this. Elon Musk, America is being strangled with overregulation. So it says Geiger Capital put, it only took 410 days to build the Empire State Building in the year 1930. We've literally become less capable, drowning ourselves in red tape and regulation. 410 days to build the Empire State Building. Is that not insane? Is that not insane? 1 year ago, the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed in Baltimore after a cargo ship hit it. We still haven't started rebuilding a new bridge. This same concept, we're going to talk about in a second, in regard to California. There have been only like 6 building permits granted in California. It's insane. It's insane. After that massive fire, nothing's happening. Also, I love this. Here is Rachel Ziegler, Snow White, from the Communist Manifesto, because that's all this movie is communism. This is the fairest of them all, watching her movie in an empty fucking theater. I don't know if she's going to put a bullet in her head or if she really still thinks she's wonderful. It's hard to tell, but let's just look here. There's literally nobody there. And China, it was a huge flop. I think they had $1 million the opening weekend in China. So anyway, this stuff is working its way through the system. It's all going to be gone soon. Breaking, Trump just ordered immediate declassification of FDI. Oh, okay. I think I went through some of this. We've done this already. Oh, I like this one though. So this is the Democratic senator from Texas. I think it is Jamie Crockett or whatever the fuck her name is. That ghetto ass bitch. So here's the Netflix remake of Elon Musk doing his Nazi salute. I love the humor on X, man. It makes me happy. Breaking, President Trump is halting $120 million in federal grants for Planned Parenthood. Awesome. Fuck that. We shouldn't be paying for abortion. We should be having more kids, not aborting them. New York and California leading the homeless charts. Coincidence? Can't blame the weather. New York winters are brutal. Maybe it's the politics. Again, look at this. Fucking ridiculous. Look at homelessness, even in Michigan, Florida, Texas, Georgia, New Jersey, Maryland. We got these areas going down, and then we've got the places that encourage the homeless population. This is from 2007 to 2023. You could see the two problem states, right? You could see these sanctuary cities and the bullshit that they put forth. J.D. Vance, serving lunch to fellow Marines in Quantico. He'll make an incredible commander-in-chief in the future, and I agree. He's an awesome dude. Love him. We've got, this is insane. If the Liberal wins in Wisconsin next Tuesday, she will remove two GOP congressional districts. If you guys are in Wisconsin or close to Wisconsin, do your fucking part. Scott Pressler can't do it all for you. We can't have one dude who came from California who has to represent the entire Republican Party to be able to make things happen. The turnout in Pennsylvania, I think we lost a House seat or something there just this last week because the turnout was like 29 fucking %. Get your ass out there and vote. Don't let them switch the gerrymandering around in these congressional districts and fuck us all. We've got to start doing our part to help out. You guys, don't be lazy. Breaking, the Ninth Circuit has just overturned a district judge ruling which required President Trump to continue bringing refugees into the country. Again, there's just like good things that are happening. Here's the Vietnam cuts tariffs on American products to avoid president's reciprocal tariffs. Wonderful. So Republicans in Pennsylvania lost a deep red Senate seat because they seem to think that not voting for anything else is fine now that Trump is in office. 29% turnout. Fucking pathetic. You guys need to do your part. If you're in these states, this is ridiculous. Almost all countries have voter ID, yes. I'm not quite sure why they have Palestine in all these images and not Israel. Israel does have voter ID. Palestine isn't a country. But that seems to be a thing. EC, $10. How would you donate to the Wisconsin race? I don't know, but if you look up Scott Pressler, I think you can find everything through him. And definitely do whatever you can to help, man, because they need it. I think it's just boots on the ground. We need to get people moving. And Elon's starting to get it out there too, which is great. And again, voter ID is not some fringe thing. 84% of people believe that we should have it. Also, our FBI crushing it. Finding, look at this, 2 kilos of cocaine from a transnational terrorist organization who we believe to be responsible for trafficking drugs through South America and across the U.S. southern border. I don't remember seeing any of this stuff under the Biden administration, but this is awesome. Russia and Ukraine agreed to a U.S. brokered ceasefire at sea. That's good. We're still working on there's so much hate back and forth between these two countries. We'll see if we can make any progress with them. It's definitely not going to go as quick as I think the ending of what's happening in Ukraine. Oh, and here we've got Bill Gates trying to figure out ways to reduce the population of the Earth. Evidently, improved healthcare will reduce the population of the Earth. And are they putting stuff into the medicine to try and do that? I don't know, but this is his goal. This is the WEF's goal. Overpopulation.
In this year's annual letter, Melinda and I take the toughest questions we get asked and give our answers. One that's come up for a long time.
This guy wants less human beings on Earth. That's what the WEF wants. Remember that. Remember that their incentive is reducing the population of this Earth, which is catastrophic to economies around the Earth. But they don't seem to give a shit.
Is as we make the world healthier, is the population going to get so big that feeding everybody and maintaining the environment is going to be impossible. Here we can see a chart that looks at the total world population over the last several hundred years. And at first glance, this is a bit scary. We go from less than 1 billion in 1800, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.4 billion where we are today is happening even faster. So Melinda and I wondered whether providing new medicines and keeping children alive, would that create more of a population problem? What we found out is that as health improves, families choose to have less children. And this effect is very, very dramatic. We find that in every country of the world, this is repeated. The population...
There's a number of reasons for that. It's not just from health going up. They're also pushing political agendas where they're trying to tell people not to have kids. This is all across the colleges. This is all throughout the educational system. The push to not have children is huge. It's everywhere. And it's creepy as fuck that they want to lower the population of the Earth. It's not good for economies at all. And again, Elon Musk points this out a lot. We don't have an issue. We have an issue where populations are looking to collapse all around the world. Population growth is not the concern. It's not remotely the concern, but these guys want you to believe that.
Growth goes down as we improve health. So we've taken that chart.
The same people who fly around on their fucking jets, who try to tell you that you need to do more to reduce pollution, when they have no problem with China polluting like fucking crazy across the entire world and us having no impact on anything we're doing. It's insanity.
That shows the global population growth, and we've actually extended it out all the way to 2100.
They're proud that we're getting ready to have a negative population growth in the world, but that's destructive to every financial system in them.
And we can see that instead of continuing, it actually flattens out. Another way to see that is through this rate of population growth. And you can see that in the 60s, that reached a pretty high number, over 2% per year, and it's now come way, way down. Now, 11 billion people, still a lot, but the good news is that the faster we improve health, the faster family size goes down, and so we can feel great about saving those lives.
That's this person. That's their incentives. Just remember that. Report, 1/3 of D.C. district judges were not born in the United States and had no experience as judges when appointed. Let me read that again. 1/3 of D.C. district judges, Washington, D.C. district judges, were not born in this country and have no experience being judges. The new Hyundai plant in Georgia will already go live in October, and the Alabama plant is being fast-tracked. Trump is getting rid of regulations and red tape. Dude, EC, you're so right. It's fucking amazing. It's amazing what we're doing. America First, the HUD Gov terminated taxpayer-funded housing for illegal aliens. So Scott Turner is a badass. He has made it to where we're not funding housing for illegal aliens anymore. This is good. Again, remove the incentives and they'll go away. They'll deport themselves. President Trump is bringing back Made in America, 25% tariff on automobiles made outside of the U.S., $100 billion projected new revenue thanks to the auto tariffs, strengthening America's manufacturing industry. And again, creating some negotiating leverage with all the countries that are impacted by this to get it to where they play ball. President Trump, executive order, enabling the U.S. Treasury to modernize its payment systems in order to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse. Gets rid of all of the 47 independent payment systems and centralizes. 47 independent payment systems. 47. Makes the U.S. do not pay list of fraudulent entities mandatory. Why would we pay people? Why would we pay people who are on a do not pay list? Shares data within the government for fraud detection. Checks that funds are available in budget before paying. Requires budget ID and EIN numbers. Why haven't we been doing that? India to cut tariffs on half of U.S. imports. So again, what do we got? Vietnam, Japan, probably, South Korea, India. We're going to be seeing reduced tariffs across all these countries and increased revenues all at the same time. Because some countries won't do it, right? ABC, only 4 permits issued 75 days after California wildfires burned 6,000 homes. I'm sorry, 4 permits. 2.5 months after the fires, only 4 permits for rebuilding out of 6,000 people. What's it going to look like a year from now? This is fucking pathetic. This is California speed. Let's listen to this. Let's listen to Tracy Park talk about this.
We want to get going. The Palisades rebuilding. Residents at this city council committee hearing held on the west side were here to discuss how to move forward.
The blessing here is that we have been given an opportunity to show the world how you do disaster relief and rebuilding effectively.
But the Department of Building and Safety told the committee so far it has approved just 4 permits. Council member Tracy Park, who represents the Palisades, says that's not acceptable.
You know, when I hear in a committee meeting like we had today that only 4 permits have been issued and we're on day 75 post-fire, that is concerning to me. And I don't think it is necessarily a lack of interest in rebuilding. I suspect it is indicative of systemic issues that we need to continue to focus on.
Mayor Karen Bass hired a private consulting firm to oversee the...
She has a private consulting firm overseeing this when they have literally departments in their own government that can handle this.
Recovery effort. The contract with Haggerty Consulting is $10 million, and some council members say that raises questions.
We have city departments who know how to do this recovery, who have been involved in recovery efforts of the past, and yet they can't be afforded the opportunity to hire the personnel that they need. But we can give a $10 million contract to an outside agency to help write a report for us. For me, just is it's obscene.
Some worry the city is in such a
California's fucked. If you live in California, man, your taxes are going to go up. It's only going to get worse. This is the way. So this is important. Speaker Mike Johnson issuing an open threat now saying that Congress has the authority to stop providing funding to federal courts. We do have the authority over the federal courts. We can eliminate an entire district court. Let's listen to this. Let's listen to this. This is important. You guys got to realize what's coming, okay? And there's more tools in the war chest.
Listen to what the speaker said just a little while ago.
We do have authority over the federal courts, as you know. We can eliminate an entire district court. We have power funding over the courts and all these other things. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and Congress is going to act. So stay tuned for that.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. They are coming after these guys, man. They're going to shut these fuckers down. Again, 1/3 of these D.C. court judges are not born in this fucking country, and they were never judges. How is that possible? How is that possible? And when you look at the assignments of these, they're like all liberal. All of them are Democrats. It's insane. MSTR's bouncing. Yes. John Kirby, thank you. Before you bolt, Jesse, thanks for your hard work and doing this as much as you do. We all know you don't have to. I appreciate that, man. I really do. I got to do it for myself anyways, and it feels good if I'm able to benefit anybody else at all. So I enjoy doing it. I really do. Let's see what else we got here. I think, let me see if there's anything else I really want to cover. Oh, they're going to go after. So they're saying that with Signalgate, they're going to ask Elon Musk to take a look and figure out what happened with that, because they believe there might be something malicious where this person didn't just get inadvertently added onto that signal. This is Alina Habba delivers a major update on Epstein stuff. So I know people are looking for this, and I just wanted her to speak to it. I think she's actually brilliant. Let's listen to her.
That are and are not verified. Just because you're in a Rolodex, does that mean you went to Epstein's Island? No. Just because you were in a flight log, does that mean? I don't know. They have to do their process. You can't assume, and this goes back to what I was saying, you have to go through a process. And I believe in law and order. I believe justice will be served to the people that deserve it. We believe in that. Cash and Pam are very serious about creating a pattern in this country that has been missing for 4 years, where the American people can trust the justice system is being responsible. We're not going to be off the cuff. We're not going to shoot from the hip. We're going to look at things methodically and take them very seriously. And unfortunately, that takes time.
Well, and I can also see why you might be very sensitive to guilt by association.
I totally disagree, Sean. I totally disagree. This isn't like JFK and MLK, where most of these people are dead. It's not that. This is something where these people are very much alive, and they can't just literally broadcast names of people that might not pertain to going to the island and having sex with children. They can't just broadcast that whole thing and release all of it and then have the public destroy people that weren't involved at all. There will be things that happen, and I believe that there'll be two things that happen. A, I believe a lot of people are going to go to prison. B, I think some of them are probably very powerful, and I think that they will hold them accountable in different ways that might not be prison. We'll see. Because you can, I mean, it's totally legal, but you could blackmail the fuck out of these people and use them for the greater good. I don't know that will happen. I don't know if that should happen, but it could happen. I mean, look at governments all around the world, right? Look at espionage, look at spying, look at all these things. All these things happen, and you'd have to be a little idiotic to believe that it can't happen. But I do believe that people will be held accountable. I do. At the very least, I believe people will be held accountable, and we'll see what it plays out into. But I think we're going to get plenty of names.
Association and so forth. I mean, everybody.
And by the way, that goes back to, that's exactly what I speak to. I truly understand that everybody, complaints get filed and people jump to conclusions. And
Reed's
people
probably
want to see, I see this a lot on Twitter. Where are the arrests? Where are the arrests? Well, it's again, you have to go through a process. You have to make sure that you are vetting it. We are not, Letitia.
So here's what I would think. I would think senators that might be a part of this, or people in the House, I would think you use them for political leverage to vote the right way, especially if they're on the other side of the aisle. And then I think business people, I think you crush them. If they can't directly impact voting, I think people like Bill Gates, Reid Hoffman, I think they go to prison. You don't need them. And they're Bill Gates is funding all this stuff to try and reduce the population of the earth. Bill Gates is going to prison. I believe that strongly. And again, I could be proven wrong. I got to probably say that for legal reasons. But I think Gates, potentially Clinton, Reid Hoffman, all those guys, I think they're on that list.
James, we are not Alvin Bragg. We are going to look at things properly, look at all the evidence, and bring charges where charges are due. And that will be across the board. That's not just an Epstein thing. That's a problem, because for 4 years, America was so used to people politically motivated, just flying off the cuff, filing a complaint against somebody, and then you tarnish their name, and you have to deal with the repercussions of that when you lose in case or you lose it on an appeal. And
so they're going after them. I just want to reiterate, they're going after them. That is not going to change. Did you know that FEMA received 270,000 applications for purported homeowners in the recent LA fires? Then there's only 13,000 homes. Again, just all this bullshit. There's so much bullshit going on. Snow White imploded in China, grossing less than $1 million over its opening in the local box office, according to Int Group's China box office website. Here's the thing. They don't even like the socialism and communism that's being preached in Snow White, which it is. They don't even like it because it's not theirs. It's not their version of it. They don't want to show another utopian version of anything that isn't them. So they're not promoting it in any way either. Praying for, there will be arrest. History guy scalps. Justice Roberts also rumored to be on the list. Wouldn't that be interesting? They definitely. So he might be one. He might be one where they take the votes and ensure that they get them, right? Or again, they don't even have to in that case. They could just eliminate him. They probably wouldn't, actually, now that I think about it. So like a senator on the Democratic side, again, if you could use them, let's say a senator or a House representative, if you could use them, because the problem is if you get rid of them, they'll probably just throw another blue in, right? But and Supreme Court, if you get rid of Roberts, you're going to be the ones assigning the new Supreme Court justice. So they'll probably just bury him if he's actually a part of that list. And I don't know if he is, but if he is, they'll probably just bury him and put him in the ground. Let's see what else we got here. Again, there's Doge stuff. There's MSTR. There's so many things going on. It's all good. Let's look at Argentina just super fast. Milei breaks employment record in Argentina. The economy grows more than 5% annualized. Real wages rise and inflation improves. There's so much good stuff happening in that country. Have you heard about the so-called Argentina miracle? I have. I have news. There is no miracle. This is a lie. I am the chairman of President Milei's Council of Advisors, and I want you to know that there is no miracle here at all. You read that correctly. No miracle whatsoever. What you're witnessing is the most impressive turnaround in the country's history. We slashed wasteful spending that once enriched the few at the expense of the many. We brought down inflation, a tax that disproportionately burdens the poor. As a result, we lowered poverty rates by more than 11% and lifted millions out of poverty. This is in a year. We can do it quicker. We eliminated the thousands of pickets that made travel across the country a nightmare. Imagine the relief of breathing in fresh air after years of suffocating congestion. Welfare programs, the left's favorite. They mostly serve politicians. They even stole food from the poor. Yes, they stole food from the poor. Now welfare flows directly to those who need it the most. At the core of our strategy, we eradicated the source of macroeconomic instability and that plagued our nation for so long. We eliminated the fiscal deficit. We now run a fiscal surplus, which has dramatically reduced our country risk from 3,000s to the 700s. A miracle, some say. How dare you? This is not a miracle. This is hard work. This is putting the country first, not politicians. Why is the opposition protesting so fervently? Does this sound familiar? Not because they care for the people or the nation, but because they fear the truth, that they have been the problem all along. Their time is over. Does this sound familiar? Again, this is not a miracle. This is hard work. This is having a vision, formulating a plan, and executing without fear. This is having the guts to do what is right. This is President Javier Milei's leadership. The jig is up for the left. They have nothing, and they never did. They don't love the poor. They love poverty. Now tell me again that this is a miracle. We didn't know it was impossible, so we did it. Viva Liberty. So what's so cool about this is they did this with a country that was in the grasp of this bureaucratic mess for 100 fucking years. And they fixed it in one. We have had these problems for a lot less, believe me. Let's say probably a third from really bureaucratic mess, a third of the time. And we're the world reserve currency and we're the buyer of everything. And we have all the power and all the trading power. They didn't have any. We're going to fix this a lot quicker than a year. This is our future. All right, it's 9:10. I think I'm going to end on that note. So, again, guys, I just want you to be hopeful about the future. It looks like MicroStrategy is bouncing around. It's down a little less than 1%. Tesla's up 2.3%. Palantir's down on the day. SoFi's down over 5%. Where's Hood? I don't know how Hood's doing. Is Hood doing all right? Let's just see if we got Hood over here. Hood's down 0.5%, which is kind of shocking, but whatever. It's right at the fib. It's right at this one extension fib. So it's just riding. That's crazy. Again, if you're not looking for an asymmetric bet, but you're looking for a company that can go up 100% this year, I think Hood is a no-brainer. But just remember, guys, what we're doing, we are going, just force Roberts to retire. We are going to make the country better. We're going to do it quicker than Javier Milei did. We've got a better team. We have less problems. We can fix it. We can fix all of it. And you're going to see hell unleashed on the left. They're going to hate it because what? They're 66 days in to 1460 that will transform this country into something that it has never been because we're doing shit that even Ronald Reagan couldn't pull off in the 80s. So just be excited about the opportunity that sits in front of you. You should be. This is the time where everything from a macro and technical standpoint, in my opinion, screams that we're going higher. So I'm going to finish working on my fence today. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to try and keep abreast of what's going on so that I can give you guys good reports each morning. But I am not worried about anything that's happening right now. And I'm very excited what the United States is going to look like at the end of the year and what Tesla is going to look like even in 2 months. I'm very excited. I hope you guys are excited. I hope you can see the future and the way I see it. I hope I convey it well enough. And I love you guys. And probably signing off here. I will see you guys tomorrow.